From Champaign, Illinois, this is the Jumping the Rail podcast with your hosts Mark Redmond and Mike Nargelinas.
And welcome to episode 12 of the Jumping the Rail podcast. This is Mark Redmond coming to you from Champaign, Illinois, and we have a little bit of a shakeup. Our usual co-host, Mike Nargelinas, will not be with us in studio today. He's got some personal business to tend to, so we're sending him all of our good vibes. And in the meantime, we've got a special guest with us, one of my best buddies and old-time wrestling fan, with like all of us here, the Italian stallion, Gary Vaselio from the Third Wheels is here. Hey, Gary.
Hello.
So I'll ask you the first question we ask everybody, or we try to. How long have you been a wrestling fan, Gary?
Oh my God. When did Bulldog fight Brett on TV?
On TV?
It was like a Saturday. It was like a special event.
Was it the SummerSlam?
I don't know. It was just on regular TV because I saw it. And then I saw some really old WCW, like a pay-per-view, a few matches at my cousin's house. And then I had to watch it in secret because my mom did not like the pro wrestling. She was not a fan. But I got really big into it around WCW Sting time, when he first started coming back as Crow Sting. So like I'd been in and out of it because I didn't have it on my TV. We lived in Bismarck, like we had 22 cable channels. That was it. So
yeah, for a while that's about 22 more than we had in my house in Muncie. But yeah, pretty much all of my wrestling came from the magazines and the video store.
Oh yeah, like for some reason Bismarck, like in their library, they had like the WWF magazine. And so I would follow, and then when my mom would be shopping at the local supermarket, I would sit and read wrestling magazines because it was my only way to really connect, because I just didn't have it on the TV. And for some reason, it captivated me. And I would read the list of who has the best drop kicks. I still remember Doink making number one on best drop kick.
Hey, Doink was damn good.
Doink.
Matt Bourne, man.
Yeah. Which Doink?
Not the one under the ring with the plastic arm.
No.
But no, Doink doesn't get his due, but that's neither here nor there. So we got a pretty fun show planned for today. About half hour or so from now, we got the voice of Game Changer Wrestling, Kevin Gill, gonna be calling in and joining us, and we'll talk about GCW. We'll talk about the upcoming weekend in Detroit and Chicago, and then we'll talk about the elephant in the room, which is the Hammerstein Ballroom in the end of the month, where they'll be making their big debut. And Gary, when you think of the Hammerstein, it's probably ECW for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, all those, like Philly, New York, like even what's the one up in Milwaukee? The Eagles?
Oh yeah,
Eagles Club.
Yeah, I think so. That was like, I remember watching an ECW show up there, and they would hit all those rooms that were not huge but not small. They really, that was their specialty, like
right.
Mid-size auditorium, something like that.
Yeah, like a mid-size,
right. Like the Sportatorium in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
Where was the building in Decatur that they would come to?
Oh, I saw a show there too, and I can't remember. Actually, they filled when ECW was on TNN. They did a TNN taping, I believe, in Decatur. I don't remember exactly where it was, but
okay.
Of course,
Yeah.
I went to Heat Wave. It was 98 or 99.
Oh, in Ohio?
In Ohio, yeah. So,
well, we've talked before. 98, I think, is their best pay-per-view ever.
Yeah, I went to the one where Spike got powerbombed through the flaming table.
That's 99.
Yeah.
Dudley's against Spike and Balls.
Yeah, I missed 98, but I went to 99.
Yeah.
And didn't see any of it because I was on the floor.
Oh.
The last 2 matches I snuck up to the top just so I could see him. But like, Bubba and Devon, they fought down the aisle, and Bubba said some very colorful things as he walked by. So that was like the highlight of it, because we would be okay until everybody stood up. And for I don't know why wrestling fans do it. They all stand up, and nobody can see anything.
Right.
And it just makes absolutely no sense.
Yep, they all
Have
stand
you ever
up.
been to a rock concert?
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's not the
kind
same.
of. Well, it is. I mean, the energy. You're up, you're jumping, you're having a good time.
It makes me laugh when all the fans will stand up and then they'll start chanting, "Can't see shit." It's like, there's a way to fix that.
Or sit the F down.
Right.
So
You
everybody's
can
chanting
say the
behind.
F word in case you normally do.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I don't normally.
Yeah, and
Okay,
we're going
that's
to have
fine.
a real F off between you and KG from the sounds of
It's
it.
gonna be a fucking blast.
So you saw the Dudleys in ECW then.
Yeah.
I got to ask, because I never got to see the promo. Was it just white hot when Bubba was cutting his promos?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was, everything was clicking with ECW then, so it really didn't, like, I was at the pay-per-view in Chicago where Raven returned,
Okay.
and Awesome lost the belt, or did he win the
Is that
belt?
Anarchy Rules?
Yeah.
That's the one where Taz lost the belt
Taz
to Awesome.
lost the belt to Awesome, and it was a 3-way
Tanaka.
with Tanaka.
Yeah. And Awesome and Tanaka blew the doors off.
That's one of my favorite wrestling stories of all time. Has to do with that pay-per-view, but it's not the pay-per-view. We went to a gas station after the show, and we're just in the gas station getting supplies for the way home, like Twinkies and soda. And up at the register is Raven and Simon's dick.
Now, hang on. For reference, Simon Diamond had a sidekick.
Named Dick.
Right, and he
Yeah.
was a big, muscly guy. Looked kind of like, what was his name? Krampus?
Yeah. So Raven is up there. They're paying for their stuff, and I'm marking out. I don't say anything because I've never been the guy that like goes up to somebody famous, and I remember it because I was there. But Raven's talking to Dick, and he's like, so anyway, this guy dressed up like Santa Claus comes out to the ring in Philly, and the whole crowd starts booing him. So Paulie sends out 911, and he choke slams him, and the whole crowd pops. He's like, only in Philly can you get a pop for choke slamming Santa Claus. And that's one of my favorite wrestling stories of all time, because this Raven, who's like, in real life, he's like 4 foot.
Yeah, he's not a big
He's
guy.
not a big dude, but like, and then actually we went to like a Waffle House or something, and Psychosis and somebody else came in. Like there was somebody, and we're like, huh, okay.
I remember there was, when I was in high school at the Oakwood truck stop, there was a night a friend of mine called me. I didn't make it over there, but I guess Malenko, Saturn, Guerrero, and Benoit had just stopped in there to eat because they were on the loop. But I couldn't get. I was working, I think, so I couldn't make it over there.
Marcus Alexander Bagwell Rudman, you're telling me that you couldn't get away to see all those guys at your local truck stop?
It was all I could do to not just run from the Oakwood Market to the Oakwood truck stop, which was up by the on ramp to 74. But everybody has their regrets. So we got some stuff to discuss, Gary. I don't know how much you watched of the live TV the last few weeks, but there's a big story brewing here with the Mickie James going in the Royal Rumble, and she's going in as the Impact Knockouts champion after this past Saturday.
From what I understand, that was a good match.
Yeah,
I heard there was a lot of actually good matches on that on
the Hard to Kill pay-per-view.
Hard to Kill.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a weird it's such a weird promotion because there are a lot of like interesting things about it, but some of it is just so like not there.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. But like the whole Mickey and Deanna thing has been great. Like the great development, great character work. But her coming back to the Rumble is, I mean, it's a win for her personally because, hey, you kicked me out. Now I'm champion over here. I'm still working. I put together this women's pay-per-view. But it's kind of it's still TNA. It's saying, hey, or Impact saying, hey, we're loaning you our champion. But she's not going to win the Rumble. So no. It kind of all depends to me. Because the Rumble's all about, to me anyway, it's about how much time you spend in the ring. Like, if she gets in there and she's in there a good half hour, 20 minutes, 15 minutes even, like, that'll be a win. But if she gets in there, faces off against a few people, and then gets thrown out like Victoria did last year,
right?
That's kind of still, to me, that would be another slap in the face to the promotion and to her.
Right. It's at face value, it seems like a huge win for Impact because WWE acknowledged her as the champion on their social media, and I think McAfee actually said it on the air on SmackDown.
Yeah. So
they're getting that exposure. I think they're bringing Mickey in to work with some of these young girls they've got that still can't work out of a paper bag. So they got her, they got Lita coming back. They got, well, Kelly's a bad example. But,
oh, yeah, it's a horrible example.
But I think they want to get some of these girls in the ring with some real seasoned veterans to kind of.
Hey, hot take. If you want veterans to work with your younger talent, stop firing veterans.
What exactly is working with a wet paper bag? What do you mean they can't beat one?
They can't. It's
beat
like
the way out of one. It's
like the old saying, you can't, like, about a bad actor, you can't act your way out of a paper bag.
Okay,
it's the same idea, but with wrestling.
I got you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. I mean, obviously Mickey's not going to win, but hopefully she'll get to have a good showing. She's still respected by all the girls in that locker room, so they'll make her look great.
That's because she's still really good.
She's damn good, yeah. And like you said, she's doing so much work with the NWA and with Impact, getting their women's divisions moving.
Yeah.
And, so hopefully this works out. And from the rumors I'm hearing, that's not the only big surprise for the Rumble. There's talk of maybe somebody in the men's match coming from someplace else.
The only thing first thought in my head was Christian. Because he was in there last year.
True.
And then he went to AEW. And honestly, I think he's got to have been hurt or something because he hasn't been doing anything.
Now he's just been Jungle Boy's mentor.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So I'm guessing he got banged up.
It's possible. Maybe he's not quite over that concussion problem.
Well, yeah, just like his shoulder all taped up with the KT tape. But, I mean, he was putting together great matches.
Yeah.
And he's great in the mic still, but that's the thought that comes to my head. I don't know who else they would bring back.
I don't know if it's even a bring back situation. It might just be like if they're going Impact, or would they bring in somebody like Moose? I mean, maybe not him because he's a world champion, but like you've got plenty of talent out there to bring in.
Yeah.
The logical, if they're bringing Mickey, I mean, it's possible they could bring in Aldis, for a one-off.
True. Or, I mean, it could be somebody like Big Show or Mark Henry.
I hope not.
Just come back for your last hurrah, because I don't know, like WWE seems to get buyer's remorse after they release these people, and then it's just they still don't do anything. So it's just kind of like the whole Samoa Joe situation.
Right.
Released him, Triple H brings him back, puts him in a great angle.
Mm-hmm. Then he got hurt.
Wins the title, and the whole hurt thing, like it kind of
convenient.
Like I think they were starting the whole retooling of NXT, the decimation of the product. Right.
The dissection of Triple H's vision to.
Yeah, you had something that, well, actually it was the only of the shows that I didn't like. Most shows I will fast forward through a lot of it because it's just the same stuff.
Right.
At NXT, like, it used to be that show, I was like, you know what? I'm interested in these characters. I'm interested in how they're working. They gave them longer time. They gave them, more development time, and it was good.
It was less entertainment, more wrestling, which was, and I've said several times that NXT was the best in-ring product on TV across wrestling in general.
Oh yeah, bar none. It was.
Because for all of AEW's shortcomings with their guys, because honestly, most of their talent was young and hadn't never been on TV before. These guys in NXT had been trained to how to work TV, but Triple H was letting them wrestle like they were used to.
I heard. Well, I was listening to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s wrestling podcast. If you haven't heard,
I haven't listened to it yet.
it's good stuff. You had
Freddie Prinze Jr. has one.
He
Freddie
used to
write for WWE. He was one of the writers.
He
for
directed
about
some of their segments too.
3 years.
Wow.
He's a big wrestling fan.
We're talking about the guy that was in that really crappy 90s
Which
She's
one?
All That movie or something, right?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, which crappy '90s
Wow.
movie are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, and he had Macaulay Culkin on, and they were talking, and Freddie flat out said that there was a guy he talked to that was an exec with Fox that WWE brought in to be their new COO, and they asked him at Fox if they wanted to buy everything, and Fox said the price was too high, and they only bought SmackDown. So they wanted.
So they wanted to put Raw on Fox.
No, they wanted to sell the product.
Oh, the company. Oh, wow.
So they think that this all is a way to show that they're a streamlined product, because the thought is Vince McMahon is so Vince McMahon that he refuses to just give his company to his daughter and her husband.
No. And that's the common.
So they're trying to sell it to Fox by stripping all of its assets. That sounds like
that's a
what
theory.
Wall Street does.
That hasn't been confirmed by anybody
Yeah.
yet, but that's one of the theories out there. But
Hey,
the
we're
thing-
going to lose to AEW. Might as well lose bigger.
they've lost bigger before and they came back.
They've lost bigger. I don't know, Vince, man, he's just getting.
Vince is old and he's set in his ways, but
Yeah. No, he had to buy the company
Get
from
off of my
his dad.
lawn.
He
He's
bought
kinda-
it from Vince Sr.
Yeah.
So he may be telling Steph the same thing. Hey, if you want this company, you have to buy it from me. But
Doesn't
it's-
Vince have a son also?
he
Yeah.
does. He's not as active in the company as Stephanie is.
Right on.
He'll come and go, but he's not full time with it.
Years ago, he sold all of his. Shane, his son, sold his shares
Shane,
and
that's
started another company.
Right.
It wasn't a wrestling company.
It was like a
just
digital
it was
company
a
in
digital
China.
company.
But yeah, I don't think he doesn't own any shares. He just comes and
Yeah.
does TV.
I think he's basically on-air talent.
Pretty much, yeah. He might have some sort of a role backstage, but no ownership. So there's
Being
something.
the nepotism kid.
So that's rampant in wrestling from the last 70 years. I want to run something by you, Gary. I don't know how you feel about this. I'm kind of bothered by it. There is an interim TNT champion in AEW now.
That's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb.
You fans don't realize Gary likes to sugarcoat things sometimes when he has an opinion.
Wait a minute, what is a TNT champion?
It's like AEW secondary men's
It's
championship.
like their television championship. Because
so now they have two different.
They have two championships
I
in their men's
gotcha.
division. But Cody was supposed to defend that title on Saturday. And was it COVID?
COVID protocols.
Yeah. So they wound up having his opponent, which was Sammy Guevara, have a match with Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
Instead of having it be a number one contenders match or something, they did an interim championship, which is something.
Well, there's nothing.
Vince McMahon ploy, isn't it? Where we
No,
just,
Vince
we'll
doesn't
make
do
this
that.
up.
No,
They don't
that's
just make up belts.
that's a UFC ploy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Tony's idea of
Being a real
because
sport.
being a sport type thing, and which is great, except for like AEW, like their contendership and their wins and losses that matter don't matter.
They don't matter. No.
Because Daniel Bryan shouldn't have had any kind of title shot.
No. And Scorpio Sky should be the number one contender for everything because I don't
Yeah.
think he's had a pin since
Yeah.
year and a half ago?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah. It's Tony. Tony's all talk. I can say that
I-
safely knowing Narge is not here.
I know he. I
Yeah,
know.
Narge is going to listen, right?
I know he wanted to have all the titles defended, and that's hey, that's awesome. But you could have said, okay, we're going to make this for the number one contendership,
Right.
or you could have just stripped the title. If you're
Right.
going to make an interim title, just strip the belt.
Yeah, that's just lazy booking in my opinion. And also, if you're going to have all the titles defended on a show, make it longer than an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I know you want to get the Meg on TV, but You can do a 2-hour show.
Giant sharks and Jason Statham. That's where the real money is at.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but this is a televised show, so doesn't the television company get to decide this crap?
That's
Yeah.
my thinking.
Yeah.
But still, they could have easily made the Battle of the Belts a Dynamite special and do it 2 hours.
Or like I think I had a conversation on Facebook with Narj about this. It was, if you're going to do Battle of the Belts, start it on Friday night, end it on Saturday night. Make it a 2-night event, then you got your 2 hours.
Sort of like WrestleMania, except isn't everybody pretty much complaining about this 2-day bullshit?
Everybody complains
Yeah.
about everything.
Well, WrestleMania is
Wrestling fans.
the problem with WrestleMania is, so you have it's literally like 8 hours.
Right.
So you're sitting, like, as a fan, you're sitting there, you're waiting and waiting.
Right.
The show finally starts. You get the first few matches. You're all hyped up. You're at WrestleMania where you're with 30, 40,000 people or whatever it is.
Or 100,000 in
Or-
Dallas.
Right.
Or 100,000.
Yeah, 'cause they're doing Dallas this year.
So you have all that, you're hot, you're a great crowd. Well, you get about halfway into that.
People are sleeping.
That's a marathon, man. Like, that's a lot of adrenaline to dump. And then your last match of the card, like, it could be like the resurrection of Randy Savage comes and fights like
The ghost of Roddy Piper.
the ghost of Roddy Piper, and that you would still have people that weren't popping for that because they just got nothing left. So by the end of WrestleMania, like, that's why they've split it up. But now you're. But
So
now,
do they? So let me ask this. So WrestleMania now, it's 2 days on television, but is it 2 days at the event, or they
Yes.
just film
Yeah.
the whole event? and split
No,
it?
it's two live.
So to me,
events.
what I see there is it's $50 a night or $80 for the weekend. I see them looking at a way to make more money by splitting
yeah.
it up
Right.
too. So I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know that it's all in the advantage of the fans.
No. That if nobody's ever told you before, wrestling promoters are carnies.
Oh, I know.
So
They're Kizarnis.
they're all carnies, man. Like,
Half the fan base that I've met in wrestling seem to be like very into the carny life also.
yeah, like,
True believers.
yeah.
Well,
Marks will be Marks, and Mark is Mark.
there were smart marks, and then there's a smart Mark who's sitting before you. But enough puns. But yeah, I know Tony's trying to be like real sport, and the UFC always does interim champions whenever somebody gets hurt or doesn't make weight or something. But come on,
Yeah.
it's wrestling.
Well,
It's-
Does the interim champion, and let's say UFC, but even this, do they get, since they held the belt for a minute, do they get the chance when the real champ comes back to
they'll-
fight for the belt?
yeah, they'll have a unification match.
Okay.
That always happens. It's like I said, this is lazy booking because everybody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless
Right.
Sammy drops the interim title to
This is
somebody
the same
then-
guy that refuses to put the main event on the main event.
and refuses to put Jay Lethal on TV.
Yeah, because I understood putting Punk on first, but when you're putting, like, you put Brian and Cowboy, the 60-minute barn burner
Mhm.
that the whole crowd was into, and I, as a person who fast forwards, I watched that whole thing. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
That told a story. It was real wrestling. There were bumps. There were dumb bumps, but bumps.
I know you're very critical of Brian's work sometimes,
Well-
not protecting himself.
But he's actually better now than he was
Yeah.
in WWE.
Yeah, he works smarter now.
He's smarter now, and he's really good now.
Yeah.
But you put that on first. You know how long that match is going to be. You
Right.
know for a fact how long that's going to be. So you put it on, and I know you want to say, here's what you do with that. You have a match that you can throw away. You throw it away on purpose. You put Cowboy and Brian on, and you say, if this goes long, we'll have to put this match on dark,
Right.
or you'll put this on next week. And so you make it seem like you weren't expecting that hour long.
My all-time favorite match happened on TV. It was Clash of the Champions, Flair and Steamboat, 2 out of 3 falls in '89. And the whole match, number one, it's a classic. It went about, I think, 55 minutes. It didn't go to a draw. But the whole match, JR kept going on about how if this match doesn't go the time limit, we have standby matches available. So they had matches that weren't ever going to be seen on television
Yeah.
Just waiting in the locker room just in case that match didn't go an hour.
Yeah, and so interim championship. It's a decent idea, but it's not worth. It wasn't worth the time to do it.
No. So, let me see how we're doing for time.
We're good. I'm waiting on Kevin to call us.
All right. So, let me see. I see Dwayne's with us again. Hello, Dwayne.
Want to talk about Brock real quick? I'll talk about Brock.
Let's talk about Brock. He's the...
It's dumb.
Is it dumb? Please, tell me more.
I'm in a groove, man, but it's the reason Brock. If you're gonna treat Brock Lesnar like an attraction, treat him like an attraction. Andre didn't always have to have the belt.
Never had to have the belt.
Never had to have the belt. Brock's been on TV more, and honestly, I will say this for the first time maybe ever. I am almost enjoying Brock Lesnar. Almost.
So is my wife.
Because he's got a different attitude, the way he's dressing.
Personality.
He has personality finally. But the idea where you bring him into a match that's already overcrowded to fight and then win the title.
Just to get him a payday.
Just to get him a payday, or put the other title on him. So apparently, in my thinking, he was going to beat Reigns at
day one.
And I'm guessing Reigns probably goes to Rumble, wins the Rumble, or he somehow gets it back at Mania, or maybe he doesn't, or maybe he fights Rock. I don't know.
I heard a theory on actually I heard it on Busted Open yesterday, where they thought that Reigns was supposed to drop the title to Brock at day one. Rollins was supposed to win the Universal title in the original plan. So what I'm hearing is some people are saying that, at the Rumble, Brock's going to retain over Lashley, which I'm jazzed for. I'm ready for that match. It's going to be awesome. But they're saying that Rollins is going to beat Roman for the Universal title and take that title back to Raw. Yeah. Then Brock will go back to SmackDown, where he's been a regular for the last few months. And then they'll move Brock and Roman to WrestleMania.
I'm tired
and
of
have
Brock,
Roman beat Brock.
I'm so tired of Brock and Roman.
I know, but
it's Superman punch, German suplex. Superman punch, German suplex.
But it draws money though. As long as it draws money,
does it?
I think it does.
What are the ratings like?
Ratings are different, but I mean, if you look at it just
I cannot believe that pairing. I can't believe Brock Lesnar still is a draw. He's an attraction.
He's an attraction. So as long as they announce him like a week before, he'll sell tickets.
He won't continue to sell tickets if you keep using him.
Well, you can bring him out every week. They just don't have to have him wrestle every week.
Yeah.
That's what they did with Hogan. Hogan was never on TV when we were kids. He was just doing the pay-per-views and the Saturday Night's main events.
I just think I don't think they ever gave... So you give Big E the belt. Big E is a giant dude. He's like 260.
Something like that, yeah.
They build him the same weight as Lesnar. And he's not as tall. And then you got Lashley. You have all these guys in this match. And yet you still have Brock Lesnar.
Come run through them all.
Run through them all.
Even Lashley.
Makes absolutely no sense. Because Bobby Lashley is just about as legit as a human being can be.
That's true.
That dude's giant. He knows how to actually fight. He knows how to actually wrestle. That you're not going to just pick him up and throw him around. You're not going to just pick Big E up and throw him around.
No, but that's been a complaint for a while about Brock. Then you got, he was actually working, like doing multiple, like he's doing more than just. But yeah, so we're gonna see what happens with the Rumble. I mean, like I said, there's theories everywhere. But what we're gonna head into our break now, and then when we come back, we're gonna be talking with Kevin Gill from GCW. So stick around.
Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad you could join us.
All right, and we are
Yes.
back. So, Mark and Gary back with you, and we are joined now by the voice of Game Changer Wrestling, who this weekend will be in Detroit on Friday and in Chicago on Saturday, and his name is Kevin Gill. Kevin, how you doing, man?
What up, though? What an honor it is to be here, guys. Thanks for having me on the show today.
We appreciate you coming on with us. I don't know if you know, but we're pretty big GCW fans on this show. Our regular co-host isn't with us right now, but yeah, he's the one that got me into it. And
Hell yeah!
But we watch a lot. I'm always watching on Fight, But we'll just get to the basics of it. Our usual first question is: were you a fan growing up? Like, when did you get into wrestling?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to me, not everybody involved in wrestling was, but it feels like most people that love it or are addicted to it or are obsessed with it, like we all are. It just starts at that young age, when you're in like early grammar school. You know what I mean? Like I came up in the era when like magazines were still a thing. So you'd see the bloody magazine covers in the store, and you'd see it flipping by the channels. But then eventually the characters catch you, and wrestling had its highs and lows over the years. Like, there's been obviously down periods that everyone talks about, but the spirit of wrestling and the awesome of wrestling, like even if you don't like current wrestling, a lapsed fan, so to speak, you think back on how good it used to be. And there was a time years ago when ECW kind of reignited that spark in me and in a lot of people of like, oh, wow, wrestling can be awesome again. And now it's just insane to come full circle and be involved with GCW, who I feel like are kind of really electrifying the wrestling game, bringing a lot of new fans to wrestling on an independent level, which is unprecedented. And it's just an amazing thing to be a part of. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You were talking about the magazines.
Sorry, as I popped this Pabst.
I distinctly remember my first magazine was a picture of Wahoo McDaniel, just bloody mess, and I was
bloody everywhere, man.
Oh yeah,
the sauce, the color.
But I was,
and you know how it is when if you were at that show where that photo was taken, there was a bunch of different styles of matches and performers on the show, and there was maybe a match or two that had some extra violence, some extra blood in it, and that's the one that got the cover. And I think that's the perfect analogy for GCW. A lot of people look at it on the surface and just think, oh, that's just hyper violent deathmatch wrestling. And it's like, there might be a deathmatch on the show. There might even be a state of the art deathmatch tournament,
right?
But it's wrestling is a variety show. And I think the most successful wrestling companies in the world still keep that in mind in terms of having a variety of presentation and performers.
Yeah. And you kind of hit the nail on the head with GCW. And looking at this card in Detroit, you're bringing in a match that I can't wait for because it's one of my favorite feuds I've ever seen.
Now, which one? Because I'm looking at the card too for Detroit, and it's like, do you guys mind if I swear on here?
Oh, we encourage it.
Please swear a lot. I sound better when you do.
It's fucking insane. Like every match is like, oh, really?
Yeah, but no, the one I'm talking about, you got, for Christ's sake, you got Alex Shelly and Jimmy Jacobs going one-on-one again. And it's been, 10 years maybe since they've had a match together?
Is Shelly's cleared?
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was back.
He had a health match with Cardona in Detroit, what was it, last month?
Yes.
Month before?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in the last several weeks.
Yeah, but
he's back, and he was awesome.
Yeah, but Jimmy Jacobs is one of my favorites. I've seen him at IWA shows, Ring of Honor shows. But the stuff him with Shelly is just so natural. I mean, it's got to be part of them training together. But what a homage and what a moment for Detroit area wrestling. You know what I mean? To not just have people like Jacobs and Shelly who were so synonymous with it, but then even adding that sauce of like this, having Sabu be present, having Kevin Nash in the building, like. Yeah,
it feels like a real celebration of a region of wrestling that doesn't, in my opinion, really get the shine it deserves for its place in wrestling history.
Oh, absolutely. And then you got Rhino coming in too.
The fact that
of course,
the fact
coming across town,
the pure fact
from the boatyard,
the pure fact that Sabu is still alive is something to be joyous about, and you could build a pay-per-view around just that.
Right.
There's no reason that man should still be walking.
No.
Yeah, he had been wanting a complete body transplant or whatever. At least must be 18 years ago. You know what I mean? And
it's like Muda.
Yeah,
Muda's knees have been gone since like '98. So
right, like in the current time frame, I know Sabu is not accepting bookings to wrestle. Like he's not wrestling at this time. But he's talked publicly about his desire to maybe have an official retirement match. Right. His pitch is him versus Brock Lesnar. We'll see what time
he wants to retire and die in the same match.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to go.
Might as well. It saves a lot of money on medical bills.
It's like, Sabu, this is not what we mean by a death match.
Yeah.
We actually had Fonzie on this show about 2 months ago. He was our very first interview. Oh, what a great guy.
Daddy.
Yeah, but he had...
How many times did he say daddy?
I think it was every other word. I mean, when I was messaging him,
down the middle.
when I was like texting him before he came on, every time he answered, "Hey, Mark, Daddy, how's it going?" And I was happy. I was great. But
I wonder if Fonzie types the text out or if he uses voice to text, because it would make even more sense if he uses voice to text, because then all the daddies would just be natural.
Oh, I know, right? But no, he was a great. He had a lot of great stories about Sabu and Van Dam ECW in general. But yeah, Sabu, I got to meet him about 12 years ago, and great guy. He was the same deal, just doing an appearance. He was doing an appearance for Ian for IWA. And
wow.
But yeah,
Sabu's always been to me a very kind, very generous. And when you think of what he's contributed to the wrestling game, what he's put himself through for the wrestling game, it's like he's a legend. He's on the Mount Rushmore of hardcore, the Mount Rushmore of deathmatch, the Mount Rushmore of extreme, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like his achievements just can't be unrecognized, if that makes sense.
Yeah, plus just having a reputation as being a tough motherfucker. I mean, just that barbed wire match with Funk when he just taped up his bicep and kept going is just insane to me.
Oh, how about when he got shot in the face? I don't even think he went down when he got shot in the face. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
If you've read his book, he's a fucking tough bastard, and I mean that in a good way. I mean, holy shit.
I mean, he also survived in the ring with New Jack on multiple occasions. So, like, that's also an accomplishment.
It is, yeah.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So we kind of, it's called jumping the rail. We kind of go off the rails every now and then. So
that's great, though.
So what I wanted to ask, how did you get involved with GCW? Like, were you already in the business before, or was it something?
Yeah, I had been a referee for a number of years, and not for GCW, but just around the independents. And I made the move from referee to commentator because I had done a lot of talking in my shoot job stuff, but not so much in the wrestling world. But I finally got some opportunities to put the gift of gab out of the business sector and video game sector and all that, and into wrestling. So I was doing all that stuff, and I had become I follow wrestling, insanely closely. So anyone that's making noise or making a buzz or whatever, like, I want to know about it and I want to be watching it. So like Joey Janela and Game Changer Wrestling got on my radar really before GCW was even announced, when it was still part of, I guess, the JCW or Jersey Championship Wrestling family. But I would see these clips of what they were up to on social media, on Facebook in particular. And it was just like, these dudes are crazy and they have this wild edge to them. I love it. Like rebellious, like underground type shit, but in a forward looking sort of way. So I had actually booked Joey Janela to wrestle at an event I was putting together, and he ended up getting hurt and couldn't do it. But from that point on, I was in touch with him. And the second they announced Joey Janela's spring break for Florida, the original one, and, this was a thing. It was unheard of to run a show at that time of night. They weren't nationally or internationally known. And I just hit them up and congratulated them. I thought it was brilliant what they were trying to do. And I asked if there was any way I could be a part of it. And I was obviously the first person to ask, since they had just put out the announcement that second. And they said, yeah, just keep in touch. And and then as I got closer, they're like, oh, we're going to rotate people. So you could just pick whatever match you wanted. And it's funny too, because I could pick whatever match I wanted, but the match I wanted more than anything was I keep forgetting now, because it's involves a husband and wife, but then they were on opposite sides, so I screw it up in my head. Who was it? It was Andy Williams. It was Andy Williams and Penelope Ford, I want to say, versus the Butcher and the Bunny.
Okay.
Or the Blade and the Bunny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pepper Parks. Yeah. So that, because of the Every Time I Die crossover, and I'm a big fan of all the people in that match. So It's just funny, though, out of this totally wacky, wild card, I was like, that one, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that was my first opportunity to work for GCW, and I had a great experience. And, you know, they from there, I was still working in other places, and they were still building their empire, so to speak. So I came back the following year for Spring Break 2, and I got to do a few more matches. And then it was kind of around Spring Break 3, maybe a little bit before Spring Break 3, and then afterwards that I just started being on pretty much every show since then. And it's been an incredible, to say an incredible run for me is the understatement of the year. Like, again, as a historian of some sort, as someone who studies the business closely, who consumes, not just content in a way, but, well, definitely not just content in a way, but the actual, like, the numbers, the insight, the stuff of really how the whole thing works. It's unfathomable to me what Game Changer Wrestling is accomplishing, and with the size of how small the operation is. There's not even a website. You know what I mean? It's wild. It's Wild West. It's Last Outlaws. It's not a gimmick. You know what I mean?
We noticed the website doesn't exist. I think there might be a merchandise site, maybe.
Most definitely. GCWmerch.com, I think, launched this year, and that's been upgraded and renovated a few times already. It's evolving before our eyes. So there's lots of cool stuff to check out on there. Signed event posters, lots of limited run stuff, as well as some of the more traditional items.
One of the reasons I love pro wrestling so much is how many stories are kind of like yours, where like the guy's like, so I just started showing up one day, and then they eventually started paying me. Like,
well, the funniest story I could tell you is
stories like that.
The funniest story I could tell you like that, I think, is I want to say it was well, you don't remember offhand when the first Bloodsport was, do you? Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. I want to say it was at the White Eagle Hall in New Jersey.
Yeah, it was. I know it was in New Jersey. I forget specifically.
All right, if it was in New Jersey, then this is the one. I thought, because there's been so many events, sometimes I mix things up. But yeah, it was the collective weekend, and they're doing. I was working on a whole bunch of different shows for Game Changer, and then I also worked for Blackcraft Wrestling, and I got like my schedule, so to speak, in advance, and I was not scheduled for Bloodsport. And then in talking with Brett, and as time went on, I was like, cool, so definitely not needed for Bloodsport. He's like, 100% no, and I'm like, all right, good. I would love to do it, but I'm just trying to know what I'm free for and whatever. So I show up a few minutes before. Well, not a few minutes. I was there. I was there to see Bloodsport, but I was there early because I worked on the show before it. And the other announcer comes up to me when I get there and is like, "Oh, so tonight it's going to be you and me on commentary." And I was like, "Oh, well, I was told they specifically have someone, and I'm 100% not doing it." And I was like, "I have no opposition to doing it, but I'm told it's 100% handled." And they're like, "Okay." So then they come back like an hour later, and they're like, "Have you heard anything?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, all I heard was it was confirmed for me again yesterday that I'm 100% not doing it. So, blah, blah, blah. So then I figured who I was sitting with. I'm standing there having a beer or whatever. And then the commentator comes over and is like, "Hey, bro, it's like 1 minute to airtime. It's you and me, I guess." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I went out there and called Bloodsport. So, some people will then say like, "Oh, it's unbelievable. He didn't even know like 10 points of research on competitor number 7. And it's like, well, sometimes the art of the game is being able to deliver to the best of your ability and to focus on the stuff you can focus on and the stuff you can help spotlight and carry and enhance, because you have no prep, you have no net, and it's confirmed you're not working on the show. And then you're like, "Hello, everyone, and welcome."
Right.
But
so you kind of just bullshit your way through it a little,
of course, am I going to flub a line or make a mistake along the way? Just like every commentator in professional sports, 1,000,000%. But I would rather have an opportunity to call a totally unique, one-of-a-kind show that's become a series like Bloodsport, just like that, with 1 minute, like, "Oh, let's go." I would rather do that than never get a chance to do it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Just make sure that you watch a lot of NFL games with Chris Collinsworth doing the color commentary, and do the exact opposite of him.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing is by never watching football or whatever, I don't allow any of that to seep into my work.
Yeah.
So one of the things we always talk about, especially with you and your work, is you call it like a fan, which we appreciate because it kind of gets us right into the mix as we're watching. Is that something you consciously try to do? Is like, I want to add that element to it?
Well, I feel like I want to be. It's not even that I want to be. I feel like I, to the best of my ability, I am 100% authentic and or organic or both, in that I'm legitimately reacting to everything I see. And of course, like all of us, we're all fans on one level or another, or we're all fans, period, if we're this interested in it. But there's always that mix of, like, I think of the people at home, because there's always people that are watching for the first time. There's always people that have been watching from day one. There's casual observers. There's people who watch regularly but still somehow haven't seen the people in this match. So it's like just kind of a filter of how can you kind of service, so to speak, or touch in a way, in a non-gross way. How can you touch kind of all these different facets of the fandom that's there? And I think the one thing that ties it all together, whether you're a knowledgeable enough fan like you guys are, where you broadcast about it, you put a lot of time into thinking, not just consuming a product, to someone who's just the first time watcher, the friend or the girlfriend or boyfriend of someone, they're in the same way that you guys are excited by hearing a fan enthusiasm injected, is the same sort of enthusiasm that's going to let them let loose and get involved and get vocal and feel it. So I just feel like being authentic, and as the greats have taught me, you can't fake passion. You can't phone it in. You can't create it. It's, you either have it or you don't. And I think the passion that I put in to the job is what connects with people as like as you said, as kind of like a fan-based POV, because at the core of pro wrestling, you know what I mean? The pops, the roars, the boos, all of that is driven by passion. It's a passion play. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I appreciate you very much asking that question.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, when I first got into the indies, it was probably like 03, 04, when I moved up to the Chicago area. And I got exposed to a guy by the name of Dave Prazak in IWA and Mid-American and all that. Do you get to work with this guy now? And he's one of my favorite announcers in wrestling. He was also one of my favorite managers, for the record, back in the day.
Yeah. He's just an uber talent. Like, and I'm so glad he's going into the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame coming up in just a few weeks in New York City. I'm so glad that CM fucking Punk is inducting him into the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame, because I don't think from a promoter side, from a commentator side, from a manager side, I don't think there's a single soul on the independents that can qualify to the extent that he does for any and all of those categories. He's just a god of it. And to have all that going on, to be as talented as he is, and to be as humble and self-effacing and kind and considerate and supportive person, he is on another level without a doubt. You know what I mean? How I don't hear Dave Prazak on my television every week, I'll never understand. And how all these major companies that are trying to have a better understanding and a better fundamental execution of women's wrestling, how they are not retaining the services of Dave Prazak. He is on the Mount Rushmore of this shit. And yeah, I'm to say honored and thrilled to work with him is understatement of the year.
Yeah, I don't think it's an understatement to say that Dave Prazak saved women's wrestling in North America in 2004, 2005. But yeah, you mentioned Punk. I mean, is there anybody more qualified to put Prazak in a Hall of Fame than CM Punk?
Man, it's just so magical. And I'm a longtime CM Punk fan, advocate, supporter. Obviously CM Punk, from all public facing information, seems to, be someone that doesn't like to appear a lot of places, or, maybe, I don't know what the correct word is. Is he a private person? Whatever it might be. He's not someone that's out on the road appearing somewhere ever or rarely in my view.
He'll do the occasional convention.
You might see him at C2E2.
Yeah,
he's selective. The fact that CM Punk would agree or choose to appear at something like this is such a nod to his love and respect of Prazak.
Yeah,
and the love and respect we all as a community have for CM Punk. You multiply that by the respect he has for Prazak, and I think that can bring the masses who may are hearing Dave Prazak's name for the first time somehow right now to give them an understanding of like who this person is and how much they matter and why it's so important to honor and respect these people and to give them their flowers. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Did he get his start in LWF too?
I think he got a start in Mid-American Wrestling with Despirito.
Okay.
I think. Don't quote me.
Carmine Despirito.
Yeah, the Hustler. But no, Prazak's a guy I would love to have on this show sometime just to pick his brain a little bit. The whole Hall
He's
of
great,
Fame,
and shout out to Lenny Leonard as well.
Oh, yeah,
I've gotten
definitely.
to work with Lenny a few times through
yeah,
GCW. I even got to work with Ian Riccaboni in the past, one time at a Ring of Honor deal. But I'm hoping. I know Ian's coming in to do a match at Hammerstein. We'll see how the pairings work out. But I would love the opportunity to call a match with Ian that I'm not I wasn't so like kind of nervous to go out and just call a match quickly on Ring of Honor. You know what I mean?
I thought you were going to
in the comfort of my own turf, so to speak. I would love the opportunity to do it again. And Ian's a world-class commentator.
yeah.
I thought you were going to say you got to call a match with Ian Rotten, and I was going to.
Oh,
I've also been to IWA in Ulitic, Indiana. That's a town.
I went to
That's a real town.
what's the city?
Ulitic.
Hold on. It's the city where they did Necro Butcher versus Low Key.
Oh shit, was that?
It's like
They did
Illinois, but it has like an unusual
Midlothian.
name before.
Midlothian, yeah.
They did the
Midlothian.
the Midlothian. I remember that match. I have that match on
You
DVD.
there?
How I was at the one. Reckless Youth was wrestling at the one I was at, so it's wild.
So it's been a while.
It was supposed to be Quackenbush versus Reckless Youth, which is why I was there. I was a Quackenbush mark. Never saw him wrestle.
Sure.
Back to the magazines. I'd read his Fantastic Finishers magazine cover to cover like 90 times. But I never got to see Quack wrestle live. Yeah. He missed.
No, he's great. He's great in the ring.
He missed a flight, but I got to see Reckless Youth.
Quack is so smooth in the ring. Hey Kevin, we got a question.
Do you think
for
Do you think he missed the flight, or is that like the old wrestling tactic of the promoter didn't buy the flight?
I know he's missed several flights over the years.
Okay, fair enough.
It was Ulitic, Indiana.
I know.
Wow,
I know
he spell that.
He missed
like EU.
No, something like OO maybe.
Wow. I still think about just the word Midlothian. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, where? How does that? What is the meaning of that word?
Chicagoland.
It's some suburbs. Yeah, I think they just go. They have so many suburbs. They just go through the dictionary and just pick words to be town names.
Right.
But no, I was at the TPI in 08 and Quack missed his flight. I'm doing finger quotes for you listeners. And he wound up giving his plane ticket to Kingston to come fill in for him. And then we got Kingston and Necro Butcher just unadvertised. It was awesome.
Wow.
KG,
in a pre-9/11 world where there was much more freedom of movement possible within airports and with plane tickets.
That's right. So we got a question from a listener for you, Kevin, from our buddy Dwayne Carter. He says, what was the best moment that made Kevin go OMG?
Oh, my God. I mean, you could go back. I could think of two just in the very recent past that absolutely blew my mind. One was, I don't know if you guys saw Alex Colon versus John Wayne Murdoch.
I did.
The other day for GCW on Fight TV. But when Alex got that 2x4 with the gusset plates on the end and swung it like he was fucking Babe Ruth, and you could just hear this meat. I'm across the room and I have a headset on. That with Dave talking, talking to we could hear each other loud through our headsets, and I could still hear this, and I could still hear it now. That sound of that fucking insane device hitting John Wayne Murdoch repeatedly, sickeningly. It was insane. So that, and also very recently when Atticus Cogar put Jordan Oliver's face into this pyro thing that we have in when we're in Chicago, I want to say.
Yeah.
In Chicago. Oh my God, dude. You know what I mean? Like, fuck.
Kogar's...
And it's not, it's one thing everyone sees, you could put your finger through a flame for a second, or you could, walk through sparks or whatever. This was a very extended blast.
That
you know what I mean? It was also horrifying.
Yeah. Kogar's a guy we talk about a lot on this show. We're expecting big things out of him coming up.
Oh man, what a blue chipper.
Yeah.
Top tier. And that's something to say when you're amongst guys like Nick Wayne and Tony Deppen and all these great performers. You know what I mean? They're all kind of emerging onto their own pillars, if you will, of this greatness. Did you guys, I don't know if you saw, right as we were connecting to do this show, Game Changer Wrestling just announced Allie Katch will be taking on Ruby Soho at the Hammerstein Ballroom in a first time ever matchup.
I was hoping you were going to say at Hoffman Estates because Narsh and I are going to be up in Chicago for that show Saturday, and
fuck yeah,
but that's going to be a hell of a match, Allie and Ruby.
Man, two of the greats, and oh God, I'm so excited for that. That's like a dream match for me. I'm a huge fan of both. I got to work with Ruby Soho as she, in her previous incarnation on the Independents, and I've run into her a few times over the years. Always so nice, always so cool, just like not affected to me. You know what I'm saying? Some people get affected by success, but she hasn't, and I love that she's doing it all now, like more on her own terms, and that she has the Ruby Soho gimmick endorsed by Lars Fredrickson and everyone from Rancid and all that. And,
seems so natural so fucking to do cool. That.
It's something that could never really happen somewhere else. I don't think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I just hope they, I want to ultimately see Rancid play her out to the ring,
Yeah, I could see that. I mean,
hopefully like Tony Khan's got the money to do that at some point. Like,
well, I don't even think it's a money issue because Lars is friends with Ruby. He's friends with Punk, so they got the connections to get them in there for a discount. Probably.
I did have I've always had I've never got to ask anybody within a company kind of like yours, like they're like you said, it's not all like hardcore deathmatch stuff, but you do have a lot of that, and you do have rising stars in it, but you're an up and coming company. So as that, like, is that line of like those guys pushing the envelope, even though it's drawing fans, is it like is there like a scary point to that for you where you're like, we could lose this guy for an extended period of time and like lose all this momentum? And just as you, as a person that knows and loves these people, like, does it ever get to the point where you're like, guys, maybe we should dial it back a skosh?
Well, like, the thing is, like, as far as people getting hurt, like, seriously injured during death matches, I've seen way more people just get seriously hurt doing regular matches. You know what I mean? As we've all seen, like, you can just take a funny step or, pivot wrong and you're out for a year or more. I've only seen a very few, in fact, off the top of my head, I feel like one properly serious injury from a death match of all the ones I've called for Game Changer Wrestling, and that of course was G Raver and the incident that occurred in Chicago where when he was out for a very long time and did a lot of serious damage to his arm and his tendons and nerves and all that. But so in that regard, it's more I worry more about crazy bumps in my own personal outlook as just Kevin the person. Like the bumps sometimes I can't believe. The hardcore stuff, I mentioned this on commentary the other day and I think some people were surprised, but me and Dave Prazak have a really nice monitor, and we're sitting there watching what you guys are watching, which is the ultimate way to call wrestling, because we could really paint that picture, like the picture. You know what I mean? There's one picture. It's not what we see over the monitor. It's what we see on the monitor.
When you can see what.
And sometimes, like during Cologne and Murdoch, sometimes you kind of you'll squint your eyes a little bit, or you kind of start to try to move your head slightly because it's I mean, some of that shit is horrifying. However, it's all just like a horror movie is horrifying, and it's all as part of a diverse entertainment experience. So to me, especially as GCW representing the last outlaws of professional wrestling and a company that does it kind of DIY on their own terms, even though they're doing really big things, I think it's just part of what the audience wants, and it's part of what the audience is going to get. I don't think it's hurt us at all. And now, you have things like Pabst Blue Ribbon has come on to help sponsor events for throughout 2022.
Anytime you get the King of Cheap
Orange
Beers,
Crush
good.
magazine, not the soda. Things like that, I think, just show our longevity and our viability as a partner. Like, we're not here to ruin the building, or you know what I'm saying? Like, we're only here to do good business and move things forward. Yeah. That's my view of it. You know what I mean? Brett Lauderdale is the mastermind of all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, on my first time seeing GCW in person was in September. Narge, my co-host, and I and his son went up for the War Game show up at Hoffman.
Oh, man, you picked a good one.
Yeah, but that was my first time really experiencing that fan atmosphere in person. When you're sitting there doing commentary, is it hard to not just sit back and just take that in during the show?
Like, I try to absorb it all because it gives you so much energy, and it's so loud and vibrant, but it's hard to explain. Like, it doesn't make me want to sit back necessarily, but I love it. I want to just soak in it. You know what I mean? I can't go to sleep for hours and hours and hours after a GCW show. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm getting wired up right now talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes the adrenaline flow. You know what I mean?
But when we were there, we had to go to the aisle when Nick Gage was coming out just to experience that, and we almost. I'm a good sized guy. I'm about 250 pounds, and Narge is right around there,
280, 270.
Yeah, and we were getting tossed around
over 500 pounds of flavor. I assume got moved.
We got tossed around like velocity. A beach ball, and his 9-year-old son almost got airlifted out of the thong. He was right in there. And he was getting jostled around a little bit, but yeah,
dude, that show was one of the. We did a spoiler alert, but me and Brett recorded the official Game Changer Wrestling podcast last night, which I haven't put out yet, but it's available on our Patreon, of course, patreon.com/Game Changer Wrestling.
Nice.
But they asked Brett what his favorite event of the year was, and that was his answer right there: War Games. That thing was very special, and logistically, I don't know how many people understand just the logistics of running wrestling events and the rings and all the other shit that comes with it, and having them in all the right places is a lot of logistics.
Yeah.
Doubling that up with a second ring, a cage. A cage is one of the biggest pains in the ass in wrestling.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 cages. You know what I mean? So from a production standpoint and a logistics standpoint and a fan support standpoint, because you were there, you felt that room and the vibes. It felt like I was at like at a Jim Crockett Promotions, Jimmy Valiant's Boogie Jam. You know what I mean? It was fucking
Gage
wild.
got that dusty treatment when he came out. The building was shaking when he came out for his entrance. Because if you would have told me 10 years ago Nick Gage would be the most over baby face in wrestling, I would have thought you were nuts. But
right, and he's got a gang now.
He's got a gang, yeah. We're all in the gang, but I'm a second gear crew guy myself. We're big Mance Warner fans here, and obviously Matthew Justice. He does stuff with Fonzie and AIW also. But
sure.
And then there's guys like Effie, who our producer Marco, that's his favorite wrestler right now.
Effie's the best, and Effie is fine.
Effie is fine, and he's also one. There's a whole. If we could get your whole roster to be on this show at one point or another, it'd be awesome. But
Effie is the most
when you think about it, it's like the
seen.
who's who of wrestling. Like, imagine just running down the list. Oh, well, who would you get? Oh, Effie, Alley Catch, Tony Deppen, Joey Janela, Mance Warner, Matthew Justice, AJ Gray.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We did
Jordan
start with
Oliver,
Alex Colon, which is
we
really cool.
Loco.
Yeah, we had Alex on.
That?
We had Alex on about a month ago.
That's right.
But yeah, you guys got so many guys, and everybody has their own distinct personalities to them, and they just seem like they love talking about wrestling, it goes a long way with us here. But we haven't discussed the elephant in the room, Kevin, and that's Hammerstein Ballroom. The end of the month.
Oh man,
you keep saying elephant in the room, and I keep asking why you call me fat.
Hey, I'm fatter than you.
He's only 250.
Yeah. But, yeah, so it's on the 23rd, is it, of January? I'm trying to remember the date off the top of my head because I don't have it right in front of me.
It is, yeah, January 23rd.
But when you found out the GCW was coming to the Hammerstein, what goes through your mind when that news hits?
Well, there's a lot of stuff I prefer to be surprised by, especially anything in the body of the show. Sometimes there's things happen or I have to know for some reason, but anytime I can not know, I like it better because I like to just be my real reaction.
Yeah.
And in this case, I knew what Brett was planning, in advance. Like he told me about it. And then, he went to see it and met with the people. So I knew all the different steps that were happening as it went. But basically my reaction was basically when he first told me as opposed to when it was announced, because as history has proven, there's literally nothing that Brett's ever said to me, no matter how insane it might seem at just the first listen, that he hasn't gone on to do in short order. So as soon as he said it, I'm just like, holy fuck. And all right, then. So we're doing Hammerstein. That's fucking crazy. I was just like, I hope we sell it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had no doubt because he's that, that's his mantra. That's his way of doing business. That's his modus operandi. Whatever you want to call it. Once he kind of sets his mind to it and kind of has the vision for it, he then follows through 1,000,000%. And not everyone can say that. So as soon as it seemed crazy, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's all, it's not a cheap venue to run and there's all these added fees. And what about this? And what if there's an alternative or whatever? But in a way, there is no alternative because from a historical perspective, for so many reasons, like to come through the COVID era, GCW blazed the trail and created a blueprint for other companies, be it television entities or other independent entities, to be able to resume events and kind of follow the GCW footprint or floor plan to how to safely do it. To come through all that, to continue to build and grow and everything, it feels like such a culmination of the efforts. And with such an uncertain future, seemingly, you know what I mean? Like there's always now some new thing going on with diseases or viruses or whatever. So in a sense, you can't wait for tomorrow. Like, sure, maybe you could do it next year. Maybe you could do it in 6 more months. Maybe it's not the right time, but it is the right time. And this is the place. This is the time. This is the moment. And it's, as you guys know, it's absolutely unprecedented in the history of both New York City and professional wrestling. To have an independent wrestling event at that building, it's never been done. Well, ECW, but ECW was also, to a small degree, subsidized by WWE. But or if you say it another way, outside of ECW, no independent entity has ever sold out that room. And if you add ECW back into the discussion, not ECW, not New Japan, not Ring of Honor, not WWE have ever sold as many tickets for a single night of wrestling in the Hammerstein Ballroom as GCW has, through the seating configuration and adjustments. And obviously we're not building an extra stage or, we don't have to block out extra seats for this or that. We keep it gritty and raw, and it's going to be insane just knowing that there's more people in there than have ever been in there for any wrestling event ever.
Yeah.
So hats off to Brett Lauderdale, man. He's fucking done it this time.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the matches that you guys have announced. Obviously, you got Homicide announced for a world title shot with Moxley. Has anybody had any communication with Mox since he went away for his hiatus?
Well, I know that Homicide definitely won the Rumble and is indeed the number one contender. But I don't think I have any comment on John Moxley at this time.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. But so you got that. You got Gresham with Blake Christian for the Ring of Honor Championship was announced.
Man, yeah, Blake Christian has been on such a roll. Like he was on a rapid ascent, doing his thing. He got signed to a television wrestling company, and then in relatively short order, then he wasn't under contract to a televised wrestling company any longer.
Right.
And he was great before. He had the benefit of several months of additional, whatever you want to call it, training, coaching. Coaching is the right word. He had several months of coaching from some of the best coaches in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Access to, training facilities and everything else, however many hours a day. And he's come back. He was great before, and he's just insanely talented now. And seeing him and Zayn against the Briscoes the other day, going viral on SportsCenter and all that, everything he's doing is just to that next level of insanity. And to put him in there with Gresham, I think it's going to just be a master class in pro wrestling. Jordan. All Heart Blake Christian can certainly get down and dirty on the mat, but let's be honest, Gresham is a master of that.
Yeah.
And by having it under pure rules, it's kind of really a challenge for Christian to really show and prove. So I can't wait to see that one unfold. I know Ian Riccaboni will be on the call. Maybe I will be too, but maybe someone else will be. But either way, you can rest assured I'm not going to be in the bathroom. I'm not going to be checking out the nacho stand. Whether I'm on the call or not, I'm going to be seated right at the desk anyway, watching very closely. Hopefully with headphones on.
Yeah, I don't think there's a smoother wrestler in the country right now than Gresham. Just everything he does is just so just effortless, it seems like. And he's just such a natural, especially with the submission stuff. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
He's incredibly gifted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Daniel Garcia, I think, is super gifted too. I mean, different conversation. But Garcia, even Moriarty, you know what I mean? I think that's what's cool is I like that Gresham, like you said, though, Gresham arguably is the industry leader, but I think maybe Garcia might be, and kind of on his heels. But we'll see. Yeah. Hopefully their paths will cross. I don't think they've ever tangled, to my knowledge.
Not that I've heard. I've been impressed lately. Christian teaming up with Alex Zane on a couple of shows the last couple of weeks. The match I had with the Briscoes was just great.
Yeah, they make great partners. They make great opponents. They're just two super greats, man. I can't put both of those guys over enough. And Zane is so colorful and charismatic, and just everything he does. A really nice, really personable guy, like a guy you want to personally root for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's so innovative. It's crazy that WWE would let guys like that go who have so much to offer, who would, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think of the merchandise that Zayn could be selling, but he'll just sells his own stuff at the merch table instead and makes all the money. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's crazy to think of how talented he is. GCW sees it. New Japan sees it. Ring of Honor sees it. Impact sees it. Right. I'm probably leaving someone out. But
I'm guessing New Japan probably sees it. Yeah, more
Sorry,
specifically, Vince doesn't see it, which is really all
right. Good point.
But with anybody that uses Taco Bell in their character is aces in my book. So, Kevin.
Amen. And thanks to him, there was a dark period similar to the, like 92, 93, 94 television wrestling industry. There was a dark time where Taco Bell removed the very popular potatoes from their menu in any capacity, ruining the spicy potato taco, obviously. And many other things. And I sent a few tweets to Alex Zane and CC Taco Bell, and they sorted it right out. It's
might
back.
Be a sponsor.
Not for us, they won't.
So, hey, Kevin, we have now been joined in the studio by our regular co-host, Mike Nargelinas. I guess business is good?
Yeah, business
what
is
up,
real
though, Mike?
Kevin, good to hear you. I was listening on the way over here. I caught it right when we were talking about Nick Gage spinning my son around. I was hoping he was going to back body drop him, but it didn't happen. So
maybe next time, maybe get a monkey flip.
He's 9. His wallpaper on his phone was a picture of him and Nick Gage busted open. On the
just Nick Gage busted open.
Just Nick Gage.
I was going to say, how does your son get bloodied?
Hey, you know what? For Halloween next year, what we ought to do is get all the boys that look like GCW guys with blood everywhere. And freak out all the parents. Hang on a minute now.
Great.
Hey, Kevin, do you drink?
Sure. I'm
what do you
drinking
drink?
Pabst right now.
A Pabst. He's drinking a PBR. All right. Do you use shots?
Sure.
What do you shoot?
I tend to stick with clear liquors, but I've currently been sipping on some Japanese whiskey. Oh. So whiskey could work, or orange infused vodka.
Okay. Well, right now, in celebration of Narge making it to the show tonight, because it was in doubt, he had some stuff going on he needed to deal with. So we're drinking some Terramana. a little bit of
okay.
rocks
Juicy
tequila.
Finau turned me on to that.
Tequila.
Juicy Finau used to carry a big bottle of it around in his pocket.
Cheers, Narge.
No joke.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That is just worth it.
We told Kevin we were going to be there Saturday.
Yep, he knows.
Awesome. We're looking forward to it.
Hey, Kevin, how accessible are you? So when the guys get up there, might be able to reach out and touch someone type of thing and say howdy in person.
Oh, it's real easy. Like generally, like the last few minutes right before the show starts are hectic, but generally any other time is fine. Like after the show, I tend to hang around a bit. And then if you're there early, I'm there early, and a lot of times I'm helping people get seated and stuff. Or in some, it just depends. Some venues, Chicago. Oh yeah, Chicago. It depends. There's some markets due to staffing, like I tend to be more involved with the door and seating and stuff.
Right.
But I think Chicago is usually one of those markets that I'm not.
Well,
so,
Chicago has the they mandate vaccine or test also for people to enter events like this now. That started January 1 in Chicago. Do they make you guys deal with that, or does the venue deal with that?
Well, I guess it's a venue thing, but then when I saw that's for Chicago, but we're in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, so I don't know if that
it may or may not be covered. Yeah.
I mean, on the safe side, I'm probably going to bring everything just to be on.
Yeah.
I've got a picture of all my stuff.
I have the gimmick in my phone. You know what I mean? And to me, anytime I'm around a group, even though I'm vaccinated and boosted, wearing a mask is a fucking great idea. Like it's worked in Japan for decades for a reason.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I lived in Korea and they all wore masks everywhere they went. Of course, they were trying to fight smog, not disease, but it boils down to the same thing. Well, if you see two big burly guys looking like security for this really not small, but 9-10-year-old kid that's not real big, but he looks more intense than they do, that would be these guys.
I'll make it real easy. If you see two big guys with beards and black T-shirts, that's us.
Wrestling show? Okay.
You never see those at wrestling matches, ever. That's like at a rock concert. If you ever see a guy in a black T-shirt, he's me, right?
Right.
Right. Well, one thing I'll say, too, is that, I'm always around before the show, too. And generally, I'm always available and approachable to say what's up, take a picture, any of that stuff. I guess the only is if you see me running or doing like a hobbled version of running, then probably just leave me alone.
Right.
But any other time, and you know what I'm saying? I'm only running when I'm it's like, oh, my God, I have to go find
that.
This
reminds me of the T-shirt that says, I'm a bomb technician. If you see me running, try to keep up.
Yeah. But yeah, I always love meeting everybody and shit, and it's cool. Again, just like the energy and the vibes, and there's so many people. If they're from the hometown, they want to tell you the best parts of the hometown.
Right.
If they're the people that come from out of town, you know what I'm saying, they want to know where everyone's going later or whatever. It's just fun.
Make sure you get some Chicago style pizza while you're up there, because you can't get it the right way unless you're in Champaign or Chicago.
That's true.
Hey, I just saw somebody post in this GCW wrestling group. Does anyone here have a single ticket for sale for the GCW at the Hammerstein? Is it sold out?
Oh, it's sold out in 20
yeah.
minutes? Something
Okay,
like that.
so it's totally sold out. Is there any holdback?
No, there's no production hold or anything. Like it's sold out in like 36 hours or something.
Oh.
But from running the GCW Patreon, I know that someone hit me up today saying they have a single seat that they want to sell at face value.
Well, there's this GCW Wrestling Facebook page. I'll try. I don't know if you guys are in, but if you guys want to send the thing to him, he can find some guy named Joey Kilmartin. Maybe you can make a connection for this person, because they seem pretty stoked about going.
Yeah, and they're looking for one.
They just want one ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, literally, someone hit me up today because they have one.
I'm guessing.
So yeah, if you could screenshot it or something and send it to me, maybe I could facilitate that. And for anyone else that's looking for a ticket to the sold out event, of course, they're selling them on StubHub and stuff like that. But there are plenty of people in the community that, whether something has come up with work or whatever it might be, or one of the people in their group or two of the people in the group can't go. I've definitely been retweeting several people that are on the hunt for or looking to trade off or sell their tickets at face value to another fan. So definitely look on Twitter too if you're in the market.
That is awesome. Is there merch with you on it yet? I mean, these. Sure. I'm Marco here. I'm not the big wrestling guy. I just do the sound stuff mostly. But these guys are big on a couple of the announcers for the WWE and the especially WWE, right? The cowboy hat.
JR.
That's
AEW.
He's AEW now.
Yeah.
Jim Ross?
Yeah, he was WWE for years, but he's AEW now.
Okay, I remember.
Decades.
Okay, so anyways, but that guy's got merch. I mean, he's got a name.
Yeah.
Are you in the position yet where you're starting to become part of the merch package, or are you still where are you at with that?
Yeah, like my I don't have merch available through GCW, but I have had independently, produced shirts and other kinds of merch that I'll do runs of in the past. And I'm so glad you mentioned it, because the legendary, I could announce here exclusively for the first time, legendary Japanese artist Sei Ozawa, who's done shirts for Danny Havoc and Madman Pondo and GCW, and just he's an incredible artist, has done an amazingly designed piece for me that's going to be a shirt, a sticker, and a limited edition signed print, and it'll be the first time ever that the Honorable Mr. Ozawa will ever be signing his work. So it's going to be a double signed print as well, and I'm going to have some of these shirts at Hammerstein.
Will it say fuck on it?
Yeah, it's got to say fuck on it, right?
like I have had
holy
shirts that said fuck. Oh, well, my shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, it's not in that though. Yeah, you're right. I need a more conventional fuck shirt.
A conventional fuck shirt. I'm going to use
Oh.
that on the next girl I'm with. This is my conventional fuck shirt.
My 3-year-old walked down
You don't
when we
do
were
conventional
watching.
fucks, do you?
My 3-year-old walked down when we were watching GCW a couple weeks back, and he's like, "Daddy, that guy said a bad word," and I said, "Yes, he did."
That's what happens when your face goes into glass.
I can't
That's
do
right.
conventional ones. Look at me.
That's
I
what
have
I
to find the odd ones.
That's what I like about you, Kevin. And I told my 9-year-old that when he listened, he's like, "Dad, he commentates like you would do, like you bring some reality to it, which I appreciate. I think I talked to these guys. Joey Styles used to do the same thing. He left a lot of the cursing out,
brother.
but Joey was there, but he wasn't doing the extreme stuff that you're doing. I mean, you watch. Alex and John Wayne Murdoch. I mean, how do you not say fuck 20 times? At the end there, my son was like, "Dad, is he really hurt?" when he hit him with the gusset plates to the arm, and I'm like, I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Dad, I think they really hate each other." I was like,
we were talking about it earlier. The sound of it, the sound of the way Cologne swung that thing, and the way it hit him, and the sound of the connection, and there was like this red mist in the air. It's crazy. I've never seen that.
I told Mark I got on and I read a lot of the Twitter and the comments, and a lot of people had negative things to say about that match, but I thought it was done perfect. I don't know if Alex is towing the line between babyface and heel at this point, but he loves GCW, and that was his ultimate goal, was to say, "Hey, I'm running the show here, and Murdoch's not."
I'm the top. I'm the top guy in this game. You know what I mean? In the deathmatch game, he's the king. He has holds the gold, has the belt to prove it.
And what's crazy,
and I think.
No, I'm sorry. We had him on, and he was so soft spoken. And then
he was a good interview, though. He was really a good interview.
He is a crazy man.
Well, it's like he keeps it all sedate at home when he's got the TV with the baby crying in the background, or whoever. Was that him? No,
that
wasn't him.
No, that was somebody else.
But he had the Zoom problems. We had problems with the Zoom connection, but he was very mild mannered sounding. And he just but it's like maybe he's just bottling it up so on Saturdays he can rip somebody apart.
What I liked was he talked about his 9 to 5. He was like, I do this on the weekend, then I got to go to my 9 to 5. And I was like, you imagine showing up to work on Monday with
all cut up. Oh, look, you had another match this weekend. Yeah. How could you tell?
Or like someone comes over and just touches your arm to tell you something, and then meanwhile, if you could see under your shirt, your arm is just like a shredded pork sandwich.
Well, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Whether it's death matches or even UFC, they see the action right then and there. They don't think about the next morning.
Yeah, there's
I do that when I watch UFC. I know when I've got a bruise or I've done something. Can you imagine waking up the next morning and being Nate Diaz or Nick Gage or Alex Colon?
When I sit in my recliner on a Saturday night and I watch TV and I go to bed and I get up the next morning, I can barely walk. Okay. So, I know all about feeling like ass getting out of bed, and that's not without doing any of this stuff you guys do.
So
no bumps taken, no bruises, no contusions, no 12 to 6 elbow strikes.
Yeah,
no glass. Zack Ryder is still pulling glass out of his bitch ass.
My biggest battle every night is a 6-pound Chihuahua who takes up 98% of my queen size bed.
She's the boss.
I've got to ask you this. Mark has a question, but so we're coming Saturday, and I told him this earlier, and I don't know if you feel this way. The show Saturday in Chicago feels like a lot of outside talent coming in. Is there a reason for that? It doesn't feel like there's as much homegrown GCW talent Saturday. And I don't mean that in any disrespect, but we got Ricky, Scorpio, Cardona.
PCO.
PCO. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of outside guys, which I like. I think GCW is the new age GCW better. Is there a reason for that, or are we saving some of the guys for Hammerstein? Is that, you know what I mean? Is there a reason?
I think sometimes it's just like the luck of the draw, really. It's how everything plays out, and everyone, it's hard with all the moving parts, like everyone who's available on what day and what day every venue is available, and then what are the matches in mind. The Speedball Mike Bailey, he's coming to Chicago, but not Detroit.
My son's
that's going to be incredible. I don't know if I've never gotten to see Mike Bailey wrestle in person before because of all the stuff with immigration that's gone. You know what I mean? But with that all said, the fact that he's going to be there to me is fucking awesome. And I'm just trying to scroll through for the card.
We watched him on Impact last week, and my 9-year-old, his name's Kyler. You'll meet him Saturday. He said, "Oh, Dad, I've been wanting to see Mike Bailey. Been wanting to see him since when, Kyler? Saturday?" So, but whatever. I mean, the fact that he had such an impact Saturday on a kid, he's so excited. I know. I told him the match I'm looking most forward to is Cardona and Ricky Morton.
Yeah.
I plan on wearing my Joey Janela T-shirt, so I sure as fuck hope he shows up. I love the angle he's doing right now. The old Flair Savage deal with Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah. Yeah, those pictures.
Yeah, I just can't believe that. I mean, Chelsea just married Cardona like a week ago, and she's already stepping out with Joey.
Hey, he's a bad boy. Can you blame her?
Yeah. Chicks love the bad boys.
I'm looking at the Chicago lineup, though. I got to say, so we got Speedball Mike Bailey versus Tony Deppen.
Awesome.
The return of Jeff Jarrett.
That's great.
Alley Catch versus Kylie Ray. Motherfucking AJ Gray versus PCO.
That's an nuts.
OG GCW. Cardona versus Morton. The tag team champions, the Briscoes versus the Rejects, John Wayne Murdoch
I fucking love the Briscoes.
His partner. Gresham and Scorpio. Bandito and Blake, and more. Who knows what the and more is? But that lineup is fucking insane to me, dude.
I hope the and more. No, it's mind blowing. Mark and I share every day. I'll be like, Mark, look.
Yeah.
The only thing I hope for, and it's probably not going to happen. I haven't seen him in months. Is I hope to see Nick Gage. I don't know where he's been. He's missing in action, but I hope Nick. He's got to show up before Hammerstein. Nick's got to show up. It's coming.
Do you have anything for us on that, Kevin?
I have no comment and or no knowledge to share on that situation. I feel the same way. Nick Gage is the king, the god of this shit.
Wasn't that who you played as Halloween?
I was.
He was going to.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
No,
he was.
I was Nick Gage for Halloween.
You were a portly Nick Gage.
I was a portly Nick Gage.
He was Nick Gage on Cheeseburger Rake.
Yeah. So Kevin, we mentioned his name a couple times. You've been pretty good about it. But you mentioned, I keep an eye on when we're retweeted, Matt Cardona. You said you might have some things to say about Matt Cardona, so I'm going to give you the floor. Ooh. So just let it out.
Well, you know what I'm saying? It's like I had to reach out to John Cena for help yesterday. He was looking to be the arbiter of peace on the internet to promote some new property he's working with. And I used the hashtag and just simply said, hey, there's this orange guy who's harassing me at work, and he's always flaunting his wealth around, but he's also like an extreme doll collector, so he's not really much of a catch. And then the whole situation is complicated because a good friend of mine is now involved with Matt's wife. So I think Matt Cardona finds himself in a very tough situation. Like he had this big empire in the streaming game and doing his toy and doll based content creation, which is wildly popular. He came in, he shocked the world, trended #1 in the world, and defeated the King Nick Gage in a fucking violent, bloody, insane death match that caused a near riot at the Showboat. He had all that happening for himself, and then I feel like Effie just kind of mind fucked Cardona to such a place that now he's like a pinball bouncing around like a giant goof. You know what I mean? He's straight out of catering and not into the frying pan, but directly
Straight
into the
out
fire.
of catering. There you go.
There's a rap album for you.
All right, I got some.
Then you have Chelsea and Joey, and I mean we've all seen the pictures. I mean it doesn't take a rocket scientist to put all that together. So then what are you left with? You're left with this orange man with a jet black, charcoal black beard, and like millions of toys and hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, but no happiness in his heart, no joy in his soul. You know, Joey Janela cucked him. You know what I mean? And Effie mind fucked him. And then he has me, you know, taking over Wrestling Observer Live and going on like 250 broadcast stations and the Armed Forces Network for the troops overseas and just airing them out. He's too full of himself, and I think he just needs to keep that in check, respect the business. And at the end of the day, Ricky Morton has wasted so little time on dolls. There is no Ricky Morton doll that you can buy because Ricky Morton is a motherfucking professional wrestler, and Ricky Morton is going to teach Matt Cardona a thing or two about wrestling. And there ain't going to be no catering set up either. No catering for Matt Cardona. He can order his own pizza.
I was at the Collective in Indianapolis, and I'm pretty sure, was that the show where Joey and Ricky went back and forth? The Collect. I was there. I don't remember. I think I missed it, though. And that's the one where Ricky took the fucking pile driver on the hardest part of the ring. Ricky Morton is incredible. My wife, the other day, I sent her a picture, and she's like, "Who's that dude with the mullet?" And I was like,
"That is a
Are
glorious
you
mullet."
Fucking kidding me, Rachel?
It's the ultimate mullet.
It is.
It's not even a mullet. It's a Morton.
And I explained to her who she was, or I explained to her who he was, and she's like, "Isn't he an old man?" I said, "That old man kick everybody's ass." Are you kidding me, Rachel?
He's Memphis old, so Memphis guys.
And the deceptively large Ricky Morton. Like Ricky Morton was an undersized babyface in a time when the heels were a lot of giant people. Ricky Morton is not a small person.
No, yeah, he is. We met him. Where did we meet him? Days of the Dead convention. Yeah.
He claims to be
What
a former
guy,
world
man.
champion.
One of my favorite GCW memories is we all went out to eat in Laramie, Wyoming when we went there. And
did you have steak?
You just all walk into the restaurant and you sit down, you know, in the order you're all walking in. And I got luck of the draw to sit next to Ricky Morton and just to chop it up with him. And I'm normally the most aggravated person in the party when the food is late or whatever, you know,
Me too.
From the wait. Like, I'm like, oh God, where's the food? Even though we set it up in advance, they were so underprepared for us to be there that
sounds like a birthday party this last year.
Yeah, right.
It took like 2 hours for the food to come out. And meanwhile, I was not happy that people had to wait for their food, but meaning I couldn't care less that there was no food because I could just sit there and listen to Ricky Morton tell us stories without even having to stop to put a fork in his mouth. You know what I mean?
I mean,
no one was distracted by food. It was just
I can't imagine what Ricky, you know, the Wyoming show. That's the one where Sabu wrestled Matthew Justice, right? Outside.
No, that was in Silverado, California.
Who was in Wyoming?
What would Fonzie think?
Laramie, Wyoming was Mance Warner versus Nick Gage in the main event.
That's right.
And Jimmy Lloyd rode a donkey it was a donkey, I believe.
You said
there was a donkey show?
You said no. He said Mance Warner, Nick Gage, and I went 6 to midnight real quick. I'm sorry, I got to take a break.
So, Kevin, we got a couple more questions for you. Then we'll let you go.
Hang on, Matt. 1 second. Kevin, you got just a minute. I think Gary has to roll. That's what I'm
I'm his
Gary
ride.
Has to roll.
So,
you're his
so
ride.
he's here until we're done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
My apologies then.
We're gonna get a couple more questions, and we're gonna let you go.
I have a big question.
Okay.
Because you're the commentator. So I've watched literally one show of this, and it was was it from the Greek in L.A. or something like that? And I was
highest in the room.
What was it?
Highest in the room.
Highest in the room. And I was. No.
No,
but so something I noted, and this is from where I view things, the production was not as big scale, and I understand why it's not as big scale a show, but what is the plan for GCW to, number one, gain that? Because, like, you sold out the Hammerstein, which is freaking awesome, but for people like me, I only heard about GCW because of Narj and Mark. That's the only reason I heard about it. They said, hey, this is coming up. Wow, we rented the show from Fight TV. Are there any free-to-view options for GCW that we could start letting people know about. So maybe because we got like Dwayne who listens, a couple people listen live. We have about, I don't know, whatever subscriber base we have. They don't know GCW maybe that well. We
The
really
millions
are. We are
and
really.
millions.
We really are trying to say, hey, this is great. And I'll tell you what, as a guy that doesn't like wrestling, like I've just never gotten in, I was impressed with GCW. It felt
and that,
like
that to me is the ultimate compliment. Think for a second, guys, for real, about what kind of a wrestling product you have to produce that can equally capture the attention of a lifelong fan and someone who doesn't care enough about wrestling to watch it. That's a very rare air.
And Kevin, that exactly. We've had WrestleMania parties here where Mark played on his phone the whole time and bitched about everything he saw.
I laughed at most of it.
But we watched.
He's not a pleasant
We
WrestleMania
watched.
watcher.
No, he's not. But we watched GCW, and I think it was Alex Colon and
G-Raver.
and G-Raver.
Yeah.
And the whole time he was like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, there was a lot of holy fucks. In
He's
fact,
like,
I matched.
He's
you
like, "Is
fuck
that
for
real?
fuck."
Is that real? Are they really doing that?"
Right.
And I was like, "How do you hit
Well, the
somebody
tubes.
with a light tube?"
Yeah, the
that
tubes thing
fake
just
it,
like
Mark.
the tubes thing just really blew my, but the whole thing was not even that, but there was one match and I don't remember exactly, but there was like one guy who was like a spider monkey all over the fucking wrestling ring.
I think it was Ninja Mac.
And there was like 3 other guys and he was just like a whirlwind. Hang on one shot.
Cheers.
So while they're taking their shot there, Kevin, I've got a question for you.
Mark's
Wait,
gonna shoot
I want
his
to add
shot.
to his point real quick, if I can,
Yes.
about Ninja Mac, because a friend of GCW is Mike Sempervive, and you might know him. He's the co-host of the Wrestling Observer Live with Brian Alvarez.
Right.
But he came to his first GCW event. He's been watching for a long time, but he got to attend his first one a few months ago in Atlantic City. And his son is a big GCW fan, his son Avery. So we brought Avery, and then they brought the wife. And the wife, you know, she, like many wives or husbands, she has to endure her mate's wrestling. You know what I mean?
Oh, my wife is the same way.
So, but she came to Atlantic City because she could do other things and whatever. But then she was like, "Oh, this show seems kind of interesting. Let me check it out." She goes inside. The first person out of the curtain, the first match is Ninja Mac. Her mind is blown by this guy. She's seen every type of wrestling, New Japan, whatever. None of it impresses her, but Ninja Mac blew her mind. So Mike figured she'd leave it after a while. She stayed the whole show. And when Mike lost her later in the evening, he looks over and he captures the moment with his eye of her posing for a picture with Ninja Mac at his merch table while wearing a Ninja Mac shirt. And then she bought a ticket and came back the next day when we ran again. And then this time when the boys came last week, she came down again and had her Ninja Mac shirt on. Like, she's now a fan of GCW because of Ninja Mac. And that is amazing to me.
Yeah, well,
like
that's
he's
organic.
so outside the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So let me get back to my question, then we'll go back to
Yeah,
and then you guys.
sorry.
So the production, right? So number one, is there a way for casual or maybe fans that are fans of the bigger stuff to see you guys? Because Fight TV, from what I can tell, everything you guys put on there, it's all paid for. And to be quite honest, in this day and age when people know they can get music for free, basically, they want to see the product at the very least before they pay for it. At least one or
sure.
How do we rope them in? What do you guys have a marketing angle that works that way?
Yeah, I mean, well, the one thing off the bat is, we try to keep the shows incredibly competitively priced on Fight. It's a
Then they
lifetime
are.
of
It's like
replays.
$10-15 and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the flip side, what we do is we release a steady stream of content in terms of complete matches and also vignettes and cool things like that on our YouTube page.
Okay, great.
For Game Changer
great.
Wrestling.
So we'll point them
there's
to GCW's YouTube and say, look, guys, we talk about that because we do on this podcast. We do talk about it because these guys, like I said, they've been to a match. I've seen it, and honestly, all the wrestling I've ever seen in my life, and since like '85 when it was the legends as I call them, I've never been into
brother.
wrestling. But this GCW thing, there's an edge. Effie with his attitude, with his flamboyance, phenomenal. The speed of the matches, and I don't mean how quick they start and end. I mean the speed with which the wrestlers
pace.
are moving through the pace
yeah,
is just
there's no
crazy.
There's no plotting. You know what I
Reckless
mean? There's no
abandon.
stalling.
Yeah. So, but I want to make sure
And
people besides
everyone's
me see
there to
it.
steal the show. It's it's that spirit of ECW, and that everyone is there to literally tear the house down. You don't have to behave as if everyone else has to look better than me. Like, you're there to shine, and that's why and then the mastermind Brett Lauderdale is putting together those matches to make that magic happen. Like, who could shine from this, and who could benefit from this, and how can this make everyone excited? Like, and imagine that. Like, so much wrestling, it seems like nowadays outside of GCW is designed to make the audience unhappy, like by design. Like, all the bad stuff happens and then the bad people win. Ha 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 ha. But after all, who wants to pay for that? Who
That's
wants
Vince
to
McMahon. That's why
There's enough
WWE
bad
sucks.
feeling. There's enough bad feelings in the world, and sometimes the bad guys do win, but they shouldn't win every time. If they do, you don't tell a good story.
So, Kevin, and that's why I am the biggest fan of GCW, but I'm also a fan of AEW. Tony Khan Tony is from where we are here in Champaign, Illinois. This is where Tony was born and raised.
And he won't come on our fucking podcast.
I'm a big fan of the whole Champaign-Urbana region.
Yes, Champaign-Urbana. My father worked for Tony's father at a place here in town. And I will say this right here on the air now. Everybody gives Shad, Tony's dad, a lot of grief. My dad, on his final day, Shad brought him up to the office and thanked him for all his years of service. That's how cool.
Perfect.
And Shad's a billionaire. Okay?
The only thing he doesn't know how to do right is, like, run the Jaguars.
So what I want to ask you, Kevin, right now, I got a shirt.
Those comments about Tony Khan's sports stuff, that has nothing to do with your boy KG. I abstain from any comments related to sports. But wait, if you don't mind, enlighten me for a minute. I'm a fan of the Champaign-Urbana region.
Yeah, home of the Fighting Illini and Alison Krauss.
I'm not familiar with the Khan family relation to that area. Is there a connection to them in that area?
So Shad owns what is called Flex and Gate, and they make bumpers for Dodge and Toyota. So any Dodge or Toyota truck that you've ever seen, that's where Shad made all his money, is bumpers. He went to the U of I, started there on the production line, and worked his way up. He's the owner. I mean, he made his billions from bumpers. My dad worked there for 20 years.
I know it because the Saints Row video game series was created and developed there.
Saints Row.
I got to work on a few of them.
Marco, our producer's neighbor, Ishmael, worked for.
He works for them.
You know Ish?
You know Ish Vicenz?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, you don't.
He literally used to live
my across the street neighbor.
The street from
and
where we're at.
Now he's in Kentucky. Yeah, he's in Kentucky, and he's a video game producer, and he was the lead producer on some of the Saints Row.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's how I know him.
That's phenomenal. Yeah,
literally 15 feet across the street.
Yeah. So every Halloween, just as a side note, they did what we call the zombie display. They had like 30 zombies in their yard for Halloween. We do what we call trick or beer here, which is every kid comes through and they get some candy from like 10 different adults. So there's 10 candy, like 10 houses. Every parent that comes through that's of age, of course, gets a free drink. And we have beer. We have, margaritas, whatever the hell it is. We're like, here, go have fun. No, we don't give Terramana to anybody. But yeah, Ish and I are good friends. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, he's great people. The whole team was incredible to work with. I play myself as a DJ on Saints Row 4. I DJ.
Okay, so here's some fucking information that Mark didn't give us.
Why would I know?
I didn't know that either.
I'm gonna call Ish later and say, well, get this shit.
I know another guy.
I confess I'm not a big gamer. So.
Another guy named Mike Anaya from.
Oh, hang on a minute. Dwayne wanted me to interject, and he's right. If we're talking about Legends of Champagne, I said Alison Krauss, and of course we had Ari Speedwagon. But we also have Roger Ebert
and Ludacris.
Yeah,
Ludacris was like dropped in a bottle here, but he's from Atlanta now. Right.
Kevin, so has there ever been Champagne again? We love Champagne. We feel like we feel like this is the perfect area for a show. We are
brother. Listen, I pushed so hard to two of the guys at Volition, which is where they made Saints Row.
Yep.
Not Volition. Sorry, I'm mixing up. What's the name of the developer again?
Nope, it's Volition. You got it. Nailed it.
It is Volition. Sorry. I suddenly thought of Red. Oh no, they did make that other. Anyway, I pushed so hard for us to run an independent show in Champaign, Illinois. Yes. I'm like, you two guys are on the ground. I know all the fucking wrestlers. I can get us the ring, the whatever. You find us the building. Let's fucking do this. Everyone from your job will come. We break even or better just on our friends coming, and we could book all our friends. It would be fucking amazing. And then imagine we could do it twice a year or whatever. And I had like my check in hand, like I have the money to put down, let's go. But it was always like, oh, like maybe in a few weeks. So I saw unlimited potential for Champaign, Illinois.
What does GCW need in general? I mean, are you looking for somebody to buy the show, or are you guys looking to, we just need a room that will host the show, we'll take all the gate, we'll take everything, we'll do how do you guys normally do that?
I think there's a myriad of approaches that have proven to be
I'll tell you what, offline.
Successful.
Let
me ask you this real quick. How far is Champaign from Chicago?
2.5
miles, I think is the exact number.
We're
literally equidistant from St. Louis, Indy, and Chicago.
We're the epicenter.
Like we're in the triangle, right in the middle of all those cities. And then 6 hours south is Memphis, 5 hours south is Nashville, 4 hours to Louisville. I mean, we are in a We're in a great market because our costs, like the cost of living here, the cost of being here, is lower in all those big cities, but we can draw from those cities.
Right.
So, that'd be phenomenal. Yeah, offline we'll have a discussion. We'll banter back and forth, and you put us in. We know some venues around here. We know some places around here. That'd be amazing.
So
yeah, please, if you
bleed all over Champagne is what they'll call it.
Brett.
So
what's that?
So Kevin, I got one more question. We're gonna let you go after that because we're on a bit of a time crunch. But I got one. I think Arch has one too. But if you had, say, a portly podcast host who is looking to get into the commentary game, do you got any advice for that handsome devil?
Well, one, repetition is key. So even if you don't have a place to call a match, obviously right now, if you're just trying to get started, find some footage without commentary on it, or just find some footage and go over it and try and do it live. Like just kind of force yourself to go through the entire match and just tape it, play it back. Just find your little how to enhance what you have, as a starting point. And once you feel like you could at least present or get an opportunity, you know what I mean, then you just kind of start hitting up your local indie, and kind of the lower tier the better in terms of an opportunity. Like commentary is one of those things where, of course, because it doesn't require physicality, there's often a lot of people that aren't going to be a manager or a ref or any other role. There's a line of 9 people who want to do commentary, but if you just kind of explore and you'll ultimately find an opportunity to, if not commentate, ring announce. And once you start ring announcing, you have more eyes and ears on what's going on, and you're already reliable and articulate and showing up. And that may not always be said of the commentator. You know what I mean? In which case you could suddenly, I haven't in a while, but a lot of times I've ring announced and done commentary for Game Changer at the same time. So it's good to have any experience. Like the podcast experience is great, but then if you can I would just practice to where you feel like, when you play it back, you feel like, this is solid, or let me work on these few things, and then just kind of politic and network and just get yourself, even if it's one match on a show, 1 or 2 matches, and play them back and study them and just try to figure out what's right and what's wrong and how you can do it better and go from there.
Right on. Narge, you got anything else before
I do. I have one last very important question, Kevin. I got a shirt in the mail today from Pro Wrestling Tees. I want to know when Game Changer Wrestling is going to send Hook.
Hey, you never know, man. Ruby Soho is going to be at the Hammerstein. Eddie Kingston's going to be there. John Moxley currently holds the heavyweight championship in Game Changer Wrestling. Anything's possible, I guess. I would love for Hook to be sent. I'm not sure if Hook is available or willing or wants to be sent anywhere besides directly to TNT television or TBS television, as the case may be. And by the way, shout out to GCW for announcing that they are running Center Stage in Atlanta coming up here in the first part of 2022.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Speaking of TBS and the Turner platforms, that got me all giddy. It's amazing to think of these historic buildings like Harpo's and the Hammerstein Ballroom and Center Stage. Like, God knows what's next, because obviously Brett's on one with the legendary buildings. Why stop at Hammerstein?
Right.
Just keep going and going and going and fucking going.
We got to do the Manhattan Center next, right? Like, is that still a thing?
That's smaller, I think.
Give me the Odeum.
Oh, yeah. The Manhattan Center is so small, I don't know if it can work. The tickets
can't go from the Hammerstein to the Manhattan
Not $1 million, but...
So Mike, Mark, Saturday, the two of you plus Kyler, because
Right.
you all have the JTR jerseys.
Right.
By the way, for those of that you are listening in, Mark for Christmas this year got custom jerseys for myself, himself, and Mike, and Kyler are sometimes co-host. They're baseball-style jerseys that are jumping the rail jerseys. Will the three of
Nice.
you wear them that day just so that when Kevin sees you, he knows y'all fucking mean business?
I may wear them with a pair of Zubaz. I haven't decided yet.
Oh,
I've got my Joey Janela Never Dies T-shirt out just in case, so I might be able to throw it over the
you don't have
top.
to button it.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Zubaz. As someone who owns one pair of Zubaz, I have a question.
Shoot.
Wouldn't if you wore those Zubaz to the show, don't you find them to be so like less than paper thin that it would almost be like not like wearing pants? Like,
It's like-
wouldn't you be freezing cold?
It's like wearing pajama pants, so I might have to wear something underneath.
He's putting the vibe
I
out.
just wanted to make sure that the
I'm bringing
first
them
time
back.
the only one I have, I was like, wow, these are like so barely pants, like. But yeah, like exactly.
So treat
They're
for the ladies.
definitely summer pajama pants.
The Zuba is that the right word?
Zubaz,
Zuba?
yeah.
Zuba. They literally look like, but
My wife
back in
hates
the
them.
late '80s, early '90s, there was a craze about these like weird looking, they're not sleeping pants. People wore these things all the fucking time.
They were workout pants.
Yeah, just
Oh,
ask
they
the
weren't
Road
even
Warriors.
workout pants.
That's what the
No,
Road
these
Warriors
were-
designed these for.
Oh
was
no,
working out.
I wore these fucking things all the time, and I don't know why. I was maybe high and drunk and stupid, but
Probably.
they were part of what I was wearing all the time. So now you call them Zubas, and all, I'm like,
Well,
nah, they were
that's the
just
brand
fucking.
name.
Oh, that's the brand
Yeah.
name. Okay, now I get it.
I just
thought,
wish
like,
they had like a slightly heavier material version.
I
Because
do agree with
think
that.
It would
With the
it would
elastic
just,
cuffs.
in other words, take nothing away from the pajama side, but give me something a little more like a track pants fabric, or
right.
even dare I say, a light denim or something like that.
Give me a sweatpant.
In terms of weight, so that you could actually just wear them more. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
there you go, denim. I'll wear them to the next fucking office party.
All right, so
There you go.
So I want to get these plugs in, Kevin. We really appreciate you coming on with us. And on Friday, you guys will be in Detroit at 7 o'clock Central Time. Is that right?
Yep, 8:00 Eastern, 7:00 Central.
All right.
And then on
Saturday, Hoffman Estates for the Die for This show, which we, like I said, we will be at. And that also starts at 7 Central Time on Fight. And then January 23rd, you guys are at the Hammerstein
Does it start
Ballroom.
at 7 local time or 7 Central?
I think it's 7 Central.
7
Chicago
Central is
Central, right?
Yeah, but we are Central too.
Yeah,
so
Chicago
for us,
Central
it's
time.
local time.
Yeah. So yeah, Kevin, thanks again for coming on with this. You guys can be seen on Fight TV.
Wait a minute.
For all your big
You're
shows.
wrong. No, it starts at 8 on Saturday.
Oh, it starts at
Central.
8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 8 to 11, brother.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We'll
Y'all
be there
gonna be
like,
some tired ass bitches coming home.
my wife is driving us. She needs something to do in Hoffman Estates. So anybody
Yeah,
listening
3
knows what's
hours.
going on in Hoffman Estates.
All right.
She'll have the kids with her, so you can't really
Yeah.
take her to the male strip club, ladies.
Right. Well,
No.
Kevin, thanks a lot for coming on with us, man. It's been awesome. We will have you on again sometime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about GCW. I appreciate your guys' support of GCW. And to anyone out there that wants to hear more from me and Brett Lauderdale from GCW do a podcast a few times a month that's available exclusively on patreon.com/Game Changer Wrestling. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at OG Kevin Gill, Facebook Kevin Gill, and just whatever. Hit me up, and thanks for supporting independent wrestling. And check out, I have a t-shirt store with some old designs on ProWrestlingTees.com, where you could check out the new shit, including the shirt I was talking about earlier, which will be up on my site any second at Dignified Bastard.
Just make sure it says fuck.
Right.
Yeah, I got to make a new fuck shirt just for you guys.
And Kevin, we will be in touch about hopefully trying to run a show down here. Just talk to Marco.
yeah.
He's got all of our connections. So awesome.
Oh,
And
yeah. Thanks again, guys,
Yeah,
for
man.
thinking of me, and I'll see you soon.
we'll see you on Saturday.
Peace out.
All right. So
That was fun.
What a great guy, man.
Man.
I can tell he really loves GCW. The show's going to be great. Both shows are. I'm going to watch it Friday.
He was awesome.
He's
That
part
was
of the
fun.
culture. That's
Kevin's
awesome.
a great guy. We appreciate him coming on. All the GCW guys we've had so far. Excellent.
All two of them.
Yeah. Well,
Well, you know what though? You know what
but
though?
anybody listening
They're
from
going to share this, and we
Yes.
want Effie. Fuck you guys. I want Effie on this show. I want to hear.
Yeah.
I want to talk to Effie. I want to know
We will try to
from
make that
him
happen.
because let's be honest, he's lived a different life than we have. I want to know how he got here, how it's been to get there, how
Right.
people have treated. I want to know from him what he feels.
We'll try to ask him Saturday, but I'm concerned he may have a guitar wrapped around his neck
He
by
may.
the end of the evening.
Come
so,
on.
Yeah.
All right. So after the last episode, we made it our mission to not have a 3-hour show, which I know Narge complained about, even though he was sitting on his butt at home.
We are 4 minutes shy of a 2-hour show.
I was in my bed. It was okay.
Yeah.
If they
So-
do a 6-hour show.
So our last order of business this episode is everybody's favorite segment, Top 10 Tuesday. And this week, our topic, Narge, is worst pay-per-views.
Actually, our topic is Past the Terramana
Passing
without
the Terramana.
spilling it.
Oh, and you'll appreciate this, Marco. WWE has done away with the term pay-per-view for their big events now.
Oh, good.
They are now called premium live events. which is more encompassing.
It's
Awesome.
called We Fooled You Fuckers.
That's a little wordy.
I can totally dig that. So hang on a minute. So we're going to the top 10. So that means
Top 10.
I want to talk
This
about,
week-
Oh, shit, my mic fell.
This week, top 10, as opposed to showing you guys a list, you'll just have to listen to it.
Just hang on to my words, as everyone should.
Gary knocked my mic over.
He didn't touch your mic.
The
Stop
je-
blaming
the
the
jealousy,
guest.
Gary.
That's the guest, Mike. He
Yeah,
mentally
Gary
moved
single
it.
white femaleed you into the co-host chair this episode. All right, so number 10, worst pay-per-view, Starrcade 1991, the first Lethal Lottery.
What?
Oh man, it was awful.
Lethal? No.
It
Narge,
was,
why do you disagree?
it was so thrown together.
Who won that?
Sting won that.
Yeah,
first one.
because the Stinger won. What?
Big surprise.
I already hate this list. Go ahead. Continue.
Number 9.
Wait, hang on, Gary. Starrcade 91, awful.
Well, most of WCW's pay-per-views from that era were awful. So
Starrcade,
Gary.
if I remember you guys, Starrcade was the predecessor to the WrestleMania?
It was the first big pay-per-view event
I want.
in the
Okay.
NWA.
All right.
I want to point out that early '90s WCW is this fan's favorite time of any professional wrestler.
Now, is that when Hulk was
Hulk
all
was
dark?
in WWE.
No, that was
He was
late
still-
90s.
That was late night. Okay.
This
all right.
was Sting, Ric
But
Flair, and a
we'll
bunch
get
of
to that, though.
randos
Okay.
that
All right. Cool,
showed
cool,
All
up,
right,
so.
Narge may throw
Number
something.
9.
Narge may throw something at me. I'm going to move this over here.
Let me have the tequila.
2020. No, I'm sorry. 2021 AEW Revolution, also called the Exploding Barbed Wire Fart in Church match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega.
I don't remember the rest of the matches. On the
Exactly.
card. So
My point. Exactly.
what was the top match that night? You know? Come on, Encyclopedia.
wasn't that the one where the Young Bucks fought Ray Phoenix?
Did they do the thumbtack thing on the shoe?
Maybe.
No, that was all out.
Oh,
Was it the one? I thought that was the one where they did the flipping pile driver through
They all-
two tables.
That's every match.
And then they still kicked out.
yeah.
That's
Watch-
that's every
Of
match.
course. Gary, do you watch AEW?
But the fact that the only redeeming memory of that pay-per-view is the fiasco that was the ridiculous exploding barbed
It
wire.
was terrible, and you know,
So
we're
this-
gonna get it again. But
So this top 10 is worst
not.
pay-per-view matches, right?
No, pay-per-view events.
Oh, the
across board.
overall event. Everything about Narge, do you agree with that? It was an AEW event, and they seem to be like on their up, not their down.
And
well, Mark, you fed me 4 tequila shots, and I don't remember what the hell
Quattro
the match
in his
was.
tequila.
AEW. I'm gonna
But
look it up.
It was
I'm gonna go-
AEW's last summer, right?
It was last spring, I think.
Yeah.
But the rule should be you cannot have an exploding barbed wire match without at least a Funk or an Onita in it.
Yeah, that's not a rule. What do we got? I'm looking.
All
at
right,
Yeah,
while you look-
No, that was the Bucks against the Inner Circle. Jericho and MJF. Well, I don't remember that.
Oh, no.
Phoenix.
Jericho
Nah,
and
pay per view was pretty shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we
Okay,
agree
nah.
with Mark?
Yeah, Darby and Sting
Okay.
defeated. Yeah, it was
That was
terrible.
the
All right.
the
That fucking sucked.
All right.
Go to number 8.
Number 8, WCW Starrcade 1997. The greatest build to a main event with the shittiest main event match ever. Which
What was the main event?
Brett
Hogan-
shouldn't have been involved.
They built up
Hogan?
Hogan versus Sting for a year and a half.
Uh-huh. And what happened?
The match happened.
Well,
So what was bad about it?
There was a botched finish.
Sting was overweight. Bret Hart was involved. Shouldn't have
If
been.
you listen to Bischoff, Sting's hair was awful.
Yeah.
He did. He
Oh,
wasn't
is
tan.
that the big
He
problem?
wasn't
Hair?
tan.
Mark, the thing about and I agree with him. Maybe the best build. I mean, they literally sat Sting out for a year and a half to
So
build
they
this
worked it
fucker.
properly. They
No
promoted
words.
it. They worked it right.
Sting ain't doing shit for a year and a half.
Didn't
He
say a
ought to have
word.
been hitting a gym to do cardio.
He was hitting
was-
McDonald's instead.
He was wearing a duster for a year and a half in the rafters and not lifting weights.
Well, the duster, I can tell you this from personal experience. We wear dusters because we look a lot bigger. Except when you're a lot bigger, we don't look as big as we are.
Right.
Dusters are really dual purpose.
My son said there's too many bad words on the show tonight.
Well, that's Kevin Gill's
That's
fault.
Kevin's fault, Murray.
That's
I'm
fucking
sorry.
Kevin Gill's fault, man.
Murray said those are bad words, Daddy, and I got text.
All right.
So
Number 7.
We love you, Murray.
Murray's good people.
Scrappy loves you more.
Number 7, sticking with WCW in 1997.
my God.
Sold,
Two
sold
in a
out.
year?
Oh, Sold Out was terrible.
Awful.
With the
Miss NWO
that was the word, right? Where'd they grab these ladies?
out of the truck stop.
That was pretty much.
It
they-
was,
Silver
it was
Bullet.
Iowa in January.
the Silver Bullet was a step up from the Miss NWO.
It would have been the Silver Bullet at
contest.
10
I'm
a.m.
trying to think. 97, no, that wasn't when I met her.
Yeah,
But every match was NWO interference.
terrible.
There
Gary,
was
what do you think?
What one was it?
Sold Out 97.
Oh, Sold Out.
The
Was
original.
awful.
Yeah, terrible.
The only good match on that show was, two good matches on that show. One was Six and Eddie Guerrero ladder match,
Yeah.
and the other was the Outsiders and the Steiners for the tag titles.
Now,
So we can't. So we should be honest here, okay?
wanna-
We can't shit on Eddie Guerrero matches
Never.
ever, right?
Never.
Okay.
well, that's the thing. That's what I was gonna say. Like, X-Pac, like people talk about how good he was, but when you compare him to Eddie, he was not that good. But
like-
Eddie made everybody so much better just by working them that, that match is going to be a rememberable match on that card. Because Eddie, even then, when Eddie was kind of fat Eddie still,
He was a little chunky, but that's all right.
like
Aren't we all?
when he wasn't like jacked to the gills after
Right.
he came back from auto accident Eddie.
His mullet wasn't quite as glorious at the
yeah,
Sold
when
Out
it wasn't
show.
greasy Eddie.
Right. Greasy, literally, like
Yeah, he was
oiled up.
all oiled
not
up.
not an aspersion.
No, like he had oil everywhere, like because he just got jacked to the
Oh,
gills
yeah,
when
to the
he was
gills.
out.
Yeah.
So like, but Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko and
Benoit.
and Jericho at the time, they could have, or Regal at the time.
Don't forget
have,
Lenny Lane.
He could have, they could have a match with a broomstick and make it a 5-star match.
Right.
So any WCW pay-per-view of the era when you're like, but that match with Benoit was, it's like, no,
Who?
you
can't talk about
you
that.
can't
No,
use
we can.
that because that's going
Because
to
we only
be
talk
good.
about the wrestling.
Yeah.
I tried to watch. Was it Sin the other day?
Was that the Sid match?
Yeah.
Can't watch it.
Well, I couldn't even get there because the first part of the pay-per-view was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mike,
Oh, well,
there's so
that's
much
'cause all those were
cruiserweight
terrible.
shit.
Yeah, the problem is the agents, when they went out for the main event, the old theater, they told Sid, break a leg.
Yeah.
They didn't know he was going to take him
Well,
up.
so
literally.
we're getting off topic, but did they really think that Road Warrior Animal was a suitable surprise?
I can't
Yes.
imagine why they would.
He was over. I mean, I don't. What's 6 or 5 or
Number
what?
6.
Yeah, we'll get off.
All
on
right,
that
number
thing.
6, I think you'll all agree with me on. King of the Ring, 1995.
Mabel.
I disagree. I disagree entirely.
Mabel.
The third man, Mabel.
The thing with Mabel, he has all the right pieces. He just wasn't booked right. I don't feel like.
Plus, he was really not a great. And it's really weird to talk about him as a good or bad worker because he's a 500-pound
He was
man.
just a big dude, but yeah, I don't know.
He didn't work safe. He almost killed Diesel in SummerSlam.
I think maybe
If a person
better.
weighs 500 pounds, they can literally walk into the door, and if you try to walk into the same door, you'll die from them
Well, yeah,
running you through.
he's
So
I think a better mouthpiece for him, maybe. Was he still with Mo?
Oh, no, he was with Mo. But
Oscar or whichever.
he
one.
was with Mo, but Mabel was the leader. He was the talker.
And it shouldn't have been. And that's my point. Had he had a good, because he could. I mean, the leg drop is similar to Yokozuna.
Right, but
You
Yoko did
drop
it way
that
better.
leg, man. Oh, Yoko made it.
Yoko did
you
it
got a
safe.
Thigh that.
He knew to bend the leg.
Yeah.
When he dropped it.
All right.
Gary, King of the Ring, 95.
Was that the ECW one too?
No.
No.
That was
So-
90. Wait, no, it was 95
Yeah.
because it was in Philly.
Sandman and
I've never understood. So WWF or
that was just my
WWE
guess.
gets on these tangents where it's either super tall dude, no muscle, like Giant Gonzalez. Like guy was super tall,
Very tall.
but Baba had bigger guns. Giant Baba had bigger guns than Gonzalez.
Right.
do we consider Andre the Giant to be like big or just big?
He was thick.
Well, he was in his youth. He was super like he.
But
was,
I mean, his to me, his heyday was the 80s, and then he did,
Yeah.
of course, Princess
Well,
Bride.
he
But
was-
at that time, wasn't he kind of just like big?
by the time he got to Princess Bride,
he was
he
having
lost
back
a lot of
problems.
strength because
Okay.
of his back.
Yeah, because of the degenerative stuff going on.
Check him out in the 70s.
But before that, he was doing drop kicks.
Yeah.
And things like that when he was younger.
I saw that, yeah.
First guy
he could do standing drop kicks and stuff, and he was very, very athletic, but he was also strong. There was one of my favorite Andre stories was he was after a show in a bar, and of course most people were buying him drinks. Some of the townies came in. They started trying to piss Andre off because they thought, oh, he's just this guy we see on TV. He's not going to do anything. They spilled his beer or something, and then they ran out. So they're starting their car, and by the time they look over, he is at their car, and he flipped their car over.
Yeah, but I mean,
the roof.
they only spilled one of his beers. That's like one out of what I read one day. He drank like 83 beers. He was still sober.
156 in one sitting.
Right. So one beer, really? Less than 1% of his alcohol was wasted?
They had basically been like prodding him and wanting
Plus,
him to fight. And
they were goading him, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, he may have been drinking out of a pitcher also.
Yeah, but
because he used to
156 pitchers?
No.
Oh, like holy fuck!
He used to.
That's the other thing is when he had his back surgery. That's how they figured out how to anesthetize it. Was how much it took him to get drunk.
Yeah,
because they didn't know how to anesthetize somebody that big.
How big was he?
Well, they built him at 7'4". He's probably about 7'1", 7'2".
But weight is what matters, isn't
about
it?
500 by that point.
By 500
Holy
by the
fuck!
end.
I didn't know he was that big.
But they said Carrie Elway said this on an interview because he was Andre from Princess Bride. He said when Andre was having his back problems, the only way they could medicate him, not even anesthetize him, was just drink. Because how do you get enough medication for a giant? All right, we're getting off topic.
As
I have people waiting
wish.
for me at the bar. Keep going.
Number 5.
What bar are we going to?
We are going to Pia's Sports Bar here in town where
Pia's?
It has been suggested maybe we should do a live show. I don't know.
Okay. Who suggested that? Pia's?
That a guy by the name
A
of
regular.
the Hammer.
The Hammer.
Okay, so number 5. 5? My eyes are killing me. Number 5. You will all agree with this. WCW Uncensored 1995. Maybe most remembered for the King of the Road match with Dustin Rhodes and the Blacktop Bully that got them both fired.
Was Vader a part of that show?
He was?
Then take it off the list.
Problem solved. When you say Dustin Rhodes, do you mean Dusty Rhodes? That
No,
I know Dusty?
His son, Gold
His
Dust.
son. Okay, just making sure.
Old Dust.
They're really, similar.
Blue
Just making
Dust,
sure.
Old Dust, yeah.
All right. So Narge disagrees because it had Vader on it.
Yeah,
but...
go ahead.
All right, number 4. WrestleMania 11. 1995.
LT, are you... I'm
Narge just throw down his headphones.
out of here. No.
Actually, my big issue with WrestleMania 11 was production. There were so many glitches with the audio. Nicholas Turturro had to do the same segment twice.
Well, let's be honest.
On Butte.
Lawrence Taylor and Bigelow, they did their job. It should have been the main event. No.
Wait, that was the year LT was in?
Yes.
Yeah, fuck you.
But,
You're wrong.
But did they do their job?
They did do their job.
It was an entertaining match.
They gave the world Mongo McMichael
For
in
a
a wrestling
celebrity.
atmosphere.
Mongo, Reggie
Wait,
White,
Mongo was
Minister
there
D-
too?
He wasn't
Mongo?
wrestling. He was ringside.
The
But he was there. Mongo.
Reggie White,
Hey,
Minister
by the way,
of Defense.
Rip Mongo.
Rip.
Mongo.
He's still alive.
Mongo's alive.
He's still alive.
Oh, I thought he
Don't
just
bury him yet.
No,
God damn it.
He's still. No, it's John Madden.
Yeah.
No.
Boom. All right, we're getting off. But outside of 2 matches,
No,
that
he's
was a
alive.
crap show. All right, was that number 4? That was number 4. Number 3, Uncensored 1996, which was the Alliance to End Hulkamania.
What with the gangster and the
Z-Gangster.
Ultimate Solution?
Yeah, in the triple cage.
As a kid, so I don't know what year was that. 96.
96.
So I'm 12, and they
Supposed
bring
to-
Zeus out, and I'm like, "Holy shit, it's Zeus!"
Yeah,
And then he didn't do any. He did the thing,
the arms,
the arm
He did
thing.
the thing.
the arm gimmick.
My apologies on the Mongo. Mongo is currently suffering from a debilitating disease.
ALS?
He's got the ALS.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Good thoughts
I
to
thought
Mongo, as
something had
always.
happened beyond that, but no.
It was holy crap. That's Zeus, but not Zeus.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that
Zeus.
was it.
A very racist depiction of Zeus.
They wanted him to ride in on his bicycle, but they said no.
Z gangster.
Z Gangsta. Well, and the Ultimate Solution turned into what? He went from Ultimate because it was
he
a
was
Nazi thing.
He was
to-
Jeep Swenson first.
Yeah, then he went to Final Solution. I
Yeah,
think.
they called him the Final Solution, but
Or they call him Bane.
Well, he was Bane in the
he
in
was
Batman
Bane in
Forever.
Batman Forever.
But he was
nice.
Remember, like their very thinly veiled attempt at repackaging Alex Wright
as Berlin.
Oh,
as Berlin,
yes,
as being basically like
Dieter.
an SS officer.
Well, and then his
Oh,
bodyguard
yeah, that's
overpassed.
horrible.
You know,
The wall.
obviously the wall was more.
Has the WWE gotten past the point of thinking that Nazi stereotypes are cool?
They
They don't.
WWE.
Never, that was WCW.
That was WCW.
Whatever it was.
WWF's never done that.
Side note,
Okay,
you
good,
remember
good,
the
good.
Wall Hogan thing when he was at the
No,
Club
but
Avila?
I'll tell you what WWE has never gotten over. Right now they
Stereotypes.
have a Japanese guy. And what did they repackage him? He was just a guy that went out and worked really hard, didn't speak a whole lot of English. So they're like, how do we get him over? Let's make him a ninja.
Oh, Tozawa?
Yeah. So now
Allow me to hand you a stereotype. Take it.
How about the other guy who
But
comes
he got
out with a
him on TV.
guitar player and dances?
Well, that kind of goes along with his New Japan gimmick. He was
No.
always the king of rock and roll.
Yeah,
kind of
but
thing.
they killed
Elvis
I
Presley
loved-
is called the king of rock and roll. We should not desecrate that name ever.
Fair
I
enough.
loved Nakamura when
Yeah,
he came
Gary's
over.
with you on that.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on here.
Nakamura sucks though.
And in any other universe, this would be my number one. But at number two, King of the Ring, 1994, featuring the commentary stylings of Art Donovan from the Baltimore Colts.
Is this where Brett wins though?
No, that
Owen.
was 93. This is Owen. But
Okay.
but
Yeah, he
What
was
year was
terrible.
that?
He
What
sucked.
year was that?
just for 1994.
Wasn't the next year the year the Colts moved to Indy?
No, that was 84.
Then why did you say the Baltimore Colts?
Because Art Donovan played for the Baltimore Colts back
He
in the
played
1920s.
for him. I thought you said he was the commentary for the
No.
Baltimore Colts.
But basically, Art spent the whole time asking how much each person weighed on comment because he didn't know shit about wrestling.
197 pounds plus a few.
I thought Randy Savage was going to strangle him during that show because Savage was on commentary with Gorilla.
Well, he apparently wasn't on the good stuff that night because he might have.
Right? All right.
Number 4.
Come
Number
on,
one.
number
Number
one.
1. Oh, we're there.
Number
I'm
one.
sorry.
Can I
Haven't-
guess?
That's not counting your shots, Marco.
Son of a bitch.
Can I guess?
Let me
Yes.
solve that problem.
Is it December to Dismember?
No, he does not.
Didn't make the list? Are you?
That was number 11.
Damn. Hang on. Narge. A
Breathe.
substitution. You know the entire top 9.
If it's
Except for
AEW,
this
I
one.
quit this
But
show.
hang on. But you know 9 of the top 10. You don't know number 1. So of the 9 you've heard, which one gets kicked out of the fucking 10 for the one you're talking about?
Don't say AEW.
AEW. Out. No, actually, the one with Vader. The Vader one.
Uncensored 95.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering, like, if this isn't like an ECW, because
Where was the ECW or Impact on the or TNA on this
like
thing?
let's
What about
Mark-
Hardy versus Sting,
don't,
Gary?
Don't get me wrong, like ECW had some killer pay-per-views.
They did.
But
That's some shit.
Near the end, oh my God, were there some really, really bad pay-per-views.
So I love Mark, but he neglects ECW and TNA. For some reason, he forgets it. He like pushes them into the back of it.
Because for all the bad ones that they've had, I've seen
Yeah.
worse.
Once you get to like Jerry Lynn versus Rob Van Dam 17,
So, but hang on a minute. No. So here we have a real
and
you know,
Jerry Lynn never
of the
wins.
9 he's already mentioned. Throw one out and throw yours in. Mark, put a little commentary. edit in your list.
I gotta throw
Who we throwing out?
the
Uncensored
fake
95.
ECW December.
The one with
yeah,
Vader?
The 95, the Vader thing. Vader's
And we're
my
going to
guy.
replace. So, Mark, in your list, replace the Vader thing with.
Do it now. December to Dismember.
And I'm gonna agree that was an awful pay-per-view.
Terrible.
But
Or anything from WWE 2020. That would fit. Too.
I'm passing on that because that was because of circumstances. I'm not putting that in the list. I mean, they had to work with what they had. So
And I don't know enough about TNA, but obviously the Hardy Sting thing. I
That
don't
was-
know the rest of the show.
that was just one match.
But just for rewatch value of Sting just housing Jeff Hardy,
trying to wrestle
like,
a
legit
dead
like
fish.
it wasn't even
legit,
trying to. He just did
like,
a stick smash and
pinning.
pinned him.
Like Sting's just like, you know what? I weigh like 3 times you, and you haven't worked out since like 2003.
I could have easily put a lockdown on there. The all steel cage pay per views,
Yeah.
Oh, those are horrible.
but that's neither here nor
Because you
there.
can't,
All right.
because one's great, but then when you can't see the match for like the entire
I
pay-per-view.
I heard a story that Dusty pitched an all steel cage pay per view as a joke in a creative meeting, and Dixie thought he was serious and went with it.
What I always liked about
Wait,
the cage,
what?
you got to have the hole cut into the cage to put
What's-
the camera in.
Which beach Bash at the Beach was it where Hogan kept the title and then got stripped later after he'd already left.
That was Halloween Havoc
That was-
95.
that would have replaced something.
That's the
'cause
one with the
that-
Yeti
No,
giant double teamed
You're
Hogan.
talking about the one where Hogan and Jarrett laid down, right? And
Oh, that's
Hogan was
Bash
like,
of the Beach 2000.
screw
Yeah,
this
that
shit.
should be
Yeah.
2000.
And then
I
Booker
just
won
want
that
was
all the
terrible.
listeners to recognize that no matter what match is mentioned, no matter what match, I swear to God, there was an underwear match between two girls that nobody's ever heard of. Mark Redmond knows exactly which match, which year, where it was held, and what color fucking underwear each woman was wearing. And if you don't believe me, just listen to this show.
And
I will tell
in
you
my
what,
years
nobody-
of marriage, that's been slowly fading out of my
Nobody
brain.
would out-talk the three of us, though, in professional wrestling history. Between the three of us, I think we would be able to
Oh, yeah,
combat anybody
I would
else.
not doubt that at all.
No.
Not at all. All right, Mark,
All
we're
right.
ready to get
Number
number one. Number one.
Number one.
I was just looking
And-
for a drum roll.
And
Very
this,
well.
and this counts as a pay-per-view, although it wasn't.
Oh,
it wasn't
here we go.
from a major company.
It's not okay.
From October 10th, 1999, Heroes of Wrestling.
That's the one where Scott Hall did his floppy fish business,
It's
right?
the one where like
He was
Neidhart and Yokozuna were in the main
Well,
event.
if your fish is
and,
floppy, you have problems.
Jake Roberts was
No,
stoned
it
out of
was
his
Jake,
mind.
not Hall. That's right. It was
Yeah.
Jake, where he was out grabbing the woman by the
Yeah, it was
Jake
just
Roberts,
chesticles.
Jake the Snake.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
it was
good.
a
This is
fucking
before-
fiasco.
Oh, that's when Jake was on the crack still.
Yeah,
This is in all of the documentaries. Jake was literally on the outside. Of the ring. He grabbed some woman by her breast, like
I'm
in the
guessing
show.
not with permission.
Oh, me
not
too.
with
Me
permission.
too.
Yeah, this was a
Hashtag
Me
me
Too
too.
thing for sure.
Yeah.
But
rude.
But he's turned his life around, so you know he's
They got a podcast.
he's got a new podcast with DDP. Yeah,
I don't remember what it's called. Snake Pit.
the DDP Snake Pit or something
Yeah.
like that. All right, so that's my number one, the Heroes of Wrestling. But that one actually is in its entirety on YouTube if you really are a glutton for punishment. So I think, actually, I'm going to make a plug because next episode we may have a guest. I'm working on that, but if not, we are going to do a full-blown Royal Rumble preview because, you know, we got that coming up. And we're going to get into a topic that actually I meant to get into today, but it's actually a pretty good one. It was on a Facebook group called Pro Wrestling Classics I came across yesterday. A guy named Rashad Duncan posted this topic, and I'm going to save this for next week. So here's your brown M&M for next episode. You think about this, Dwayne, and
And everybody else listening.
and everybody else listening, and then weigh in when we get to this. And here's his post that he put out. He said, "Man, I had a random thought about Stone Cold Steve," I'm quoting, "being the biggest superstar in the history of WWE, even with Hulk Hogan, Bruno Sammartino, and The Rock. Is it because of ratings and tickets sold? I'm asking because it's hard to see it past Hogan. And yes, I'm from the 80s. So, Dwayne, this is right in your wheelhouse, buddy."
Dwayne, who
Hogan-
is literally still in
Now,
the
we're not
80s.
going to... We're not
I
going
want
to...
to answer it right now.
Well, we're on time.
Let's
Like,
save it for the next
This
one.
is a cliffhanger.
This is the cliffhanger.
This is the cliffhanger.
God damn it.
So
Brother.
we'll get into that and the Royal Rumble and hopefully a guest next episode on the 25th. I got it right this time.
That's right. But
We're picking our
But
picks for the Rumble next
this
week, right?
Saturday, the 15th, is that right?
15th.
15th. The boys, Narge, Mark,
Tyler.
and Kyler are headed to Chicago, to Hoffman Estates, actually, for the GCW match. There is a good chance that there will be some live content that day, either
hoping.
recorded live and then we'll put it into something,
I
or
want to try
maybe
to get
we'll do,
some videos.
or
Yeah.
maybe we'll do a live spot. Don't know yet. We're going to discuss it, but here's what I'm going to tell you right now. Our next episode may be the 25th recording, but if we create this special package of stuff, you're going to need to figure out how to get your hands on it. You can only find that out by
said-
watching our page.
He said
I said
package,
package, I did.
hands on.
You want to handle our package? And
If you want your hands on our package, you better listen careful. Hey,
All right.
real quick. Thank you,
Yes.
Gary.
Thank
Holy
you,
fuck,
thank
man.
you to my buddy Gary Vaselio.
I'm going to reach out and rub
For
his
those
beard.
of you that don't know, Gary and I do an acoustic musical a-go-go act called The Third Wheels. On
Oh, the guy's
occasion.
also a He's the
a,
guy?
He's a singer. Yeah.
Hey,
Holy
Mark's
fuck,
used
I
to be
didn't
in
He's
know
the
not a musician. He's a singer.
Mark's used to be in the third wheel.
Yeah, he's
I am.
a third wheel. We are the third wheels, though.
Oh.
Like the Lone Rangers, you know. Can't pluralize the Lone
The
Rangers.
Tone Rangers.
But yeah, we have a Facebook
Well, that's better than
page
the
if you
Tone
wanna
Deaf
check
Rangers.
out.
That was the last band.
And but yeah, so just a cheap plug. You could hear some of our stuff on Reverb Nation and Rebels Fair Collective, which was a former sponsor of the show. But Gary, we're going to have you back for a recurring segment where you can just yell at clouds and be grumpy Gary like we know you to be.
Next time, just to reserve
guy?
your schedule.
We'll
zoom you in.
We'll zoom him in.
Gary's not grumpy.
We really did enjoy
Have you
having
met
you here
him?
because it's a different feeling to have somebody in the room.
Yeah.
On Zoom or whatever, it's like, oh, we're talking, but in the room,
Without
you see the
Narge
face,
in the room, I
you
wanted to
feel it,
have
yeah.
Gary with us. in
Gary, how do you
studio.
feel about the half-naked Rick Springfield poster behind your shoulder?
Oh, I didn't even know what that
You didn't?
was.
Yeah, it's
but-
Rick
Now
Springfield.
you're gonna make
Look at
him look.
It's him and Jesse's girl doing their thing without Jesse knowing.
Yeah.
Actually, that's
Speaking of-
Bruce Springsteen's wife at the time, I think.
Speaking of Jesse, rest in peace to Jesse's brother-in-law, Bob Saget.
Oh
former,
God, yeah.
Former Chikara
You know what?
commissioner.
Hang on.
Hang on. We're doing the 10 bells.
Bob gets 3. Knock that off.
Can't stop the 10.
He sucked dick for Coke once.
I seen him.
No, he just told you he did. I promise you, he had enough money for Coke, but he may have given a rock to someone once
We lost our dad and our grandma in the last.
at the same time. Yes.
And our coach.
Oh yeah, and our coach.
So, yep, rest in peace to Big Bob. We love Dirty Work, and Full House was good. And
Fuller House and pretty much everything
I
the guy did
haven't seen
was
enough of
genius.
Fuller House to have an opinion.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he did,
How I
he
Met Your
did-
Mother.
He did How
Yep.
I Met Your Mother. He voiceovered. He was the host of Family Video, whatever it's called.
America's
What?
Funniest
I
Home Video.
posted
that
the
one,
meme
yeah.
the other day. He was the guy who showed us cat videos before
Right.
the group showed
I mean,
us
he
cat
was
videos.
Bob Saget, and I was lucky. I had some friends that ran a venue about an hour south of here, and they texted me when they said, "Hey, man, guess who's going to be here tonight?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know because you're an hour away from me. I don't know." And Bob Saget. I'm like, "Bob, wait a minute, the Full House guy? Yeah, you got to come see his show. Why should I come see his show? He's fucking hilarious. Really, I've seen his TV show. I'm not sure about that. No, he's not the same guy. We promise." So I went, got the tickets, grabbed a friend, went to the show. Yeah, I left the show with a whole new understanding of Bob Saget. I can say now that guy could do clean jokes and he could do totally not fucking clean jokes, and you would laugh equally hard at both of them.
I think that is a stirring tribute by our producer Marco to a great man. And so until the 25th, I'm Mark. That's Narge. For Gary and for Marco, we will see you in 2 weeks.
Drink Terramana tequila.
Bye.